I certainly hope there's enough space on the train for me.
You sound like a big choo-choo train.
If I were you, I would think about climbing on board.
WX8BK, it is the night train. You heard the conductor. It's time to climb on board. Time to find yourself a cozy place to be. Grab yourself a beverage if you would like. Whatever makes you comfortable, that's what we're all about. Don't worry about purchasing a ticket because, as always, the ride is on us. Opening track tonight was Ashitaba by Fendel Mark, who is down here in the room. And the visuals for it were WW Ronin, which you all couldn't see because, well, the video didn't work for us tonight for some dang reason. My name is Bits. I am one of your hosts this evening. Helping us out tonight, as usual, we have the main man who is reliving his dreams on the field of dreams, playing a little bit of Little League Baseball, Mr. One Wheel Willie.
Well, they don't let me play at my old age, but yeah, I am out of the Little League fields.
You could totally play. And giving us a little bit of a hand tonight because Willie's out playing some baseball, we have Inza Moment down there with us. Inza, how are you doing tonight? Thank you for joining us.
Hey, I'm fantastic. And I got to say, I don't know that I ever caught the opening little introduction you do. And I totally get now where Hash is thinking, like, yeah, we need you to be announcing at our events because that is fucking brilliant performance right there. I would tune in I feel like I just need to know more just listening to you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that very much. I pride myself on it. I mean, if the rest of the show goes to hell, not because of the guest we have on, but because I screw it up or Willie screws it up, at least we had a good opening, right? Like, that's the key. Good opening. And once people have paid the price of admission and they're here, then they, don't feel so rip off. Remember the opening? It was amazing. Well, the one thing I am super disappointed tonight, folks, is that Willie and I were feverishly getting together to use the new video feature that Twitter Spaces has. And I created the space, I created it recorded, and I created it with video. And we started it tonight, and the video option just did not show up. For whatever reason, it happened. I'm disappointed. All I can say to that, and all I will say to that is, visit us next week because I'll be sure that it's happening. I'm going to give Uncle Elon a call and say, what's going on, bro? What's happening? Do you need me to buy a Tesla?
Yeah, we would just have to keep testing, I guess. Right?
Yeah.
I bet if I started the space from the Tesla, it would have worked.
Right. Maybe.
Probably gets like priority IP access or something
like that. Yeah, for sure. Right? It'd probably be clean as hell too.
Yeah, you get access to all the cameras that are on the car.
Oh,
interior, exterior, all of it.
Oh, dang! I never thought about that, man. That'd be totally cool. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I need to get a Tesla. I'm gonna go count my pennies in my jar here and see if I can get one. I don't think so. But for those of you that don't know, Twitter has added the option, as we've been wanting for a very, very long time. Twitter has added the option to have live video in these spaces. It's interesting. Willie and I thought Willie was talking about something else. Willie and I had a very heated conversation on Wednesday, and then he's finally like, dude, it's real. I'm going to do it right now. And Willie proved me wrong. So they've added this feature, which is really, really, really awesome for artists. I mean, especially when it boils down to it, because, I mean, it's nice. We can sit here and talk about the art, and I can sit here and look at it on my screen, really nice and big, but not everybody gets to see it, right? Of course, we can pin things to the top, but with pinning things to the top, you always have to have a tweet created, so it really makes it hard throughout a couple-hour space to be creating those tweets all the time. Willie and I don't have a big, huge budget to have people do that for us. So it's really cool. It has some flaws. There's definitely some things that Willie and I right off the bat would like to change, but we're just happy they've added the feature, and we're going to adapt to it the best that we can. And hopefully next week it's here and it's available, because like that opening piece that we just played for you tonight, there's visuals to stuff, and it's really cool that we can see it, and I'm excited about it. But on that note, if you're interested in everything tonight that I am looking at and then am seeing, you can always check it out on YouTube, because we are streaming live on YouTube as well, where we like to archive all of our spaces that we have here on the Night Train. And just speaking of that, We are here every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We've been here for almost 2 years every Tuesday night, interviewing artists about the art and the journey, and sometimes some other folks that just, wander in and we want to have a chat with them. Next week, we will have our guest will be Wise Sigma Toad. The week after that, we have I Am Wessel is going to be our guest. So keep an eye out for those. Check us out on YouTube. Did somebody just get a hit, Willie?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think that was the ball hitting the backstop, actually.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed it.
I'm trying to stay muted in and out. Let's try to keep background noise down, but
It's all good. I just wanted a little bit of play-by-play, right? So,
yeah, on
Willie,
the-
I got a quick question for you. On the video, how does it show up in the space? How would we see it?
so on
So
the go ahead,
right
Willie.
now you would see it on the left-hand side. It would be about half, maybe 2/3 of the left-hand side, top to bottom, in vertical format. We were trying to get it to be horizontal, which there is an option for that, but we could only get it to work with, like, only the speakers could see it in horizontal. So we went, all right, we'll just default it and we'll use vertical screens instead.
Yeah, and you can't blow it up either. Like it would be nice as a user to be able to, like, if I'm showing a piece of Quantum Spirits art, it would be nice if you could click on it and you guys could move around it. But that's not available yet. But so
Yeah, it's real limited, but it's something that will make a great addition for the kind of space that we do. Like I said, I've seen people using it, and they're just showing their own faces.
Willie and I will not be showing our faces.
Yeah, you don't want to see my face. You want to see what we're talking about.
We totally want to see your faces.
Well, that's the problem. If I show my face, then I'm going to have, everybody that's all interested in my beautiful face showing up in my door, and then I'll be up forever. Just be horrible. Yeah, no, it's cool. It has its flaws. It has it's going to be awesome. I created some graphics that worked well with it. I am super disappointed about it. I'm not going to cry now, though. I'm going to take a deep breath and I'll be okay. That's all right. So hopefully next week we get into it. Check around, folks, while you're checking out spaces this week. Maybe pay attention. It does, when the space starts, it does say that it's live, video live, I believe is what it says in it as well. Check it out. I mean, I haven't seen anybody else use it other than Retro Manny the one day, but it's a really cool feature.
I haven't seen him use this. I've seen him use the old live version where it's just live and you can't interact, you can't bring up other guests. So I haven't seen him use this version. I've seen other people use it. But,
right. Yeah, well, we'll be using it next week, man. And if I got to shut down the space and restart it next week to do it, we're going to do it. It's going to happen, man. Going to happen. Hell or high water. Okay, on with things, because we don't want to keep our guest waiting too terribly long. Talked about the new video. Friend of the show, Ryan Annette, really cool today, told us that he is having a piece of his art featured in a gallery in Italy, in Nepi, I believe is how it's said, in their civic gallery in Italy. I think it's about an hour or so north of Rome. And that's really huge. It's like super, super huge. So really excited for him. He's a friend of the show. He's been on here as a guest. He's been here chatting. Does some really amazing work. Originally did a lot of watercolors. Now he does a lot of watercolors and then feeds them into AI and then gets an output from that. And he does really great stuff. Really appreciate his work. And he works very, very hard in the space, as well as being visually impaired, which just adds another dimension to it, which is really cool. Just going to show that, it don't matter what you are in this life or what your disability may or may not be as the outside world perceives it. You can still do amazing, amazing stuff. So really, really happy for him. And, hey, if any of our listeners happen to be in Nepi, Italy, Nepi, it's a weird name. Nepi, N-E-P-I, Nepi. See, it's not very Italian. Like, it's Italian because it ends in a vowel, but it doesn't have,
Yeah, there's no cha or la or la.
Yeah,
it's
exactly. You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking
Right.
about. On a similar note, both Pong, aka Rob, and 0009, both alumni of the space here, got picked for Beeple's next artist head-to-head thing that he does. I don't know. So that was pretty cool to hear today too.
I did see that. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Lots of friends of the show. It's really cool to watch the space and see all these people do some amazing things. And it's like, we talked to that person. We talked to that person for 5 hours. We talked to that person for 3 hours. You know, I talked to that person this morning. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, good for them. I've never heard of that. I guess it's not the first time that Beeple has done this, but I've never heard of it or seen the head-to-head combat. So we're going to have to check that out. Keep an eye out for it for sure. Sure. And for us, you know, as talking about, you know, NFTs and art going on, we have our Fun L collab drop going on, WX8BK in conjunction with some amazing artists that we have had on our show, have gotten together in collabs, and we are doing drops. Our first one has been out for a month and just a week or so now, and that drop was with Iteration. And that drop is available now. Our next drop, hopefully, I heard it through the grapevine that hopefully next Tuesday, our next drop will be coming up. And it is a collab, right? Because it's a collaboration between WX8BK and 2 artists. So it's a collab.
Yeah, I think at this point we can say.
Oh yeah, can we? Okay.
It's gonna be Fendel and Chili Preston.
Chili Preston and
coming
Fendel
together.
What?
On that.
All right.
And the edition size will decrease. So the last one was like 35 editions. This one will be down to like 32 or maybe less, and it'll decrease with every artist as we get closer to the end, ending in like 5 editions. So, you know, if you don't know who's coming, because we haven't said a lot, you know, we're kind of saying it month by month who the next drop's going to be. You know, you might miss out on some really great stuff if you're not paying attention early on.
Absolutely, definitely have to, and there's going to be initiative to get them. We're gonna definitely encourage everybody to collect them all. There's going to be reasoning for it for sure, and there's some cool things on the works, some really special stuff that's going to happen. So I'm excited about it. So everybody should collect, and it's amazing artists. It was mind blowing. Everybody that stepped forward and was willing to offer their time and their art to do this. And, you know, and these are original pieces. So I mean, if you're a collector of these people, you know, you're definitely going to want to put these into your collection for sure. Well, I believe, in my personal opinion, I guess, you know, if you don't want to, what's wrong with you? But yeah, it'll be good. So yeah, next week, Fendel and Chili Preston. What a combination! It's so beautiful. It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited. I've already seen it, so I don't have to pretend anymore. It's awesome. I like it. It's really neat. Gonna add it to my collection. Speaking of art and people that we've had on the show, once again, Retro Manny just had the drop number 6 from the Outpost 2020. Is it 2024 or 2029?
I don't think it's 24. I think it's 30 something.
Oh, maybe it is. I'm just
30.99. I don't know.
I was trying to bring it. Anyways, Retro Manny's currently got a story going on. He's got 2 stories going on actually, which are going to merge. But we are on chapter 6 of the Outpost collection, and Willie and I. Manny was offering a reward for the person who collect the most editions of this drop number 6, and but he was also burning them very quickly. 48 hours, I think he ran it for. And Willie and I were like, "Oh yeah, I got to load up Tez. We got to get him. And Manny, we talked to Manny. We're fortunate enough to get to talk to him in the background as well. And he's like, "Hey guys, you know, I'm gonna be burning these. Da 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 da." I'm like, "Yeah, right on. We're gonna collect some Tezos, and I'll get it." And then I literally passed out on the couch with my dog and slept for 2 hours. And I woke up, and the first thing I saw on my phone was a DM from Manny, and I'm burning those in an hour. And then I looked at my phone, and I was like, "Oh shit." So I said, "Shit, sorry man, I missed that." And he was really, really kind that he put a couple aside and saved them. And Willie got one, and I got one, and I think a couple other people he saved them for who he knows likes to collect them. So that was really, really kind of him, and we appreciate that very much. I mean, if you don't know Retro Manny is a damn legend in this space. I don't care what anybody says. That dude...
I wouldn't be that kind because I'd like to drive the secondary sales as well. Right? So I would have made me try to buy it on secondary and not be that guy. So yeah, really big shout out to Retro Manny on that.
But that's the kind of guy Manny is for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a super nice guy.
He is. He's just a great dude. And if you're interested in our interview that we did with Retro Manny, you can go on YouTube and you can find that, and you can check it out for yourself if you would like. Yeah, and that's all I got. What you got, Willie? Did you collected something? You got something really cool, did you not? From some this little
Yeah,
Solana drop, right?
Daniel W. Has some stuff on Solana that he was posting a new piece, and I was like, I didn't know you were on Solana. So I dusted off the old Sol wallet and picked up his Genesis Solana piece over there. So I was like, oh, I'd like to find good artists that I know that I didn't know they were over there, especially when the prices over there are cheap. They're generally the prices are not cheap, but he had these pieces priced very, very well to where I was surprised that they hadn't gone yet, because they're also one of one. So I think there's another one over there, and he's got one up for auction, and yeah, a lot of movement on Solana right now. It's producing a ton of shit coins that are moving around everywhere, and there's just a lot of buzz over there at the moment. A lot of artists that we know from Tezos are migrating, or at least not migrating, maybe, but so much, but not double minting. That's a bad word to say too. Also minting.
Better. That's a better.
So yeah, got to be checking those other marketplaces for your favorite artists, no matter who they are.
And we will be doing a drop on Solana with this.
Yes, as part of this collab, we will be doing a drop on Solana,
Yeah.
possibly some other chains. We try to stay chain agnostic. We try to just love the art for the art and don't care about what chain it's on or if it's even on chain. So we thought in that we would mint something on Solana from some of our artists that are already well versed over there. So.
Because we're just that kind of show here at the Night Train. Yeah, that's cool. That was a 101 that you got from Daniel W. You said?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's really special.
Yeah. The thing now, the one thing I will say is like maybe it's just because I don't spend enough time over there, but like knowing edition sizes and things like that are always a little harder for me to figure out quickly. I think it might just have more to do with me being so used to object. So it took me a while to be like, is this an edition? Is this 101? Like what is it? Sometimes it's a little harder. Sometimes it's easier. I don't know.
Well, with time. I just dusted off my Solana wallet for the first time in almost 2 years, like 2 weeks ago. So I can't say anything about Solana or any of the places where you can purchase art either. So, all right, cool, man. That's all I got. You got anything else that you wanted to touch base on?
That's all I got.
All right, Inza, is there anything you wanted to say before we bring up our guest of honor tonight? Since we've got you here,
no, man, I'm good. I'm ready to meet the artist.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. Let's do it then. All right. Just want to do a little room reset. Thank you everybody for popping in tonight. We really appreciate you very much, and we of course appreciate the future listeners that will be listening to our space on the recorded space. We are the Night Train. We are here every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, just like we are tonight. Next week we have Y Sigma Toad on, and the week following after that on the 26th we have I Am Wessel. We're always working in the background to get you the greatest artists that we possibly can, that you may know or that you may want to know. And tonight is an artist that I definitely wanted to know. I believe we first saw this person pop into a space when we were talking to NFT Underground and Joe, I do believe. We can clear that up in just a few moments, but we'll check it out. Sorry, I'm trying to operate 3 phones at once here. There we go. I would like to welcome up to the stage. I am very sorry. I do believe your name was Lisa, but I don't remember, but you can clarify that for me as well. Brain Digs Art, welcome up to the space.
Yeah, thanks. Yes,
Thanks.
My name is Lisa,
All
and
right.
I am one half of Brain Digs. So
Right.
there's another artist that works with me, and so thank you so much for bringing us up tonight. it'll just be me here speaking with you tonight, but excited to share a little bit more about our work and how we accomplish our NFTs. So thanks so much for having us as guests tonight.
Absolutely, our pleasure, and thank you very much for being. I can't believe that I remembered that it was Lisa, because that's the first time I've seen your name. So I was like, oh,
That's pretty good, I have to say. 'Cause
yeah, no,
I don't put it out there all that much, so it's usually just Brain Days. So, but I'm perfectly happy to be known as Lisa as well.
okay,
So
all right. Well, we can call you either. We can erase it. We can go back in time.
no,
No,
yeah,
it's
I'm
all right.
good either way.
All right,
Either
cool.
way.
Super
It's fine.
fantastic. Do you remember? Was it when we were talking to NFT Joe that you
Yeah,
came in? It
yeah,
was
it
okay.
was. He was the one that actually initiated me into the spaces. I had never spoken in a space, and I was totally scared. And the funniest thing, I don't even think he knows this actually. I was working at my job, and it's kind of a physical job, and must have had the phone in my pocket or something. And apparently, I requested to speak without really knowing, and he called my name, and I was just like so caught off guard that I didn't have a clue because I didn't really want to talk, and it just sort of happened. And then he was more than welcoming and lovely, and I was able to just share a little bit about our work, and that was the beginning of getting into spaces and even being able to speak publicly. So I'm grateful for
Oh,
that.
that's really super cool. So how did you get into that space? Were you following NFT Joe or the underground,
I guess
or
I
just
was just kind of searching for
okay?
spaces that were talking about art, and had been going into a number of different spaces and trying to find one that kind of fit my uh, mentality, I guess, is the best way to put it. And I found that one and a couple other ones that I enjoyed hanging out in. And I was just listening and kind of learning the space at the beginning. And I'm not feeling very confident about speaking in a space. And so that was just kind of a fabulous way of getting initiated, kind of by fire, I guess you could say, which is appropriate for brain digs.
It is. It's a part of it. No, that's really cool to hear. It's interesting. So, you when you were searching for a space that was more your speed, or I guess I'm sorry, I'm paraphrasing now, but I guess you were looking for a space where they weren't all bro, right? No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that there's a lot of those, so it was a little bit, especially because this is a couple of years ago now, and it was kind of the same, that kind of mentality that I wasn't interested in. And so it was nice to find real spaces really interested in the art, um, and I found that space. And then he introduced me to Wanda, who um, does like a online magazine about art, and dives into photography. I think it's the online magazine is called like Photography on the Edge, I believe. And she wrote a little article about our work and posted that. So it led to something else, just being in that one space, which I thought was actually remarkable. Yeah, it was called Photography on the Edge, a periodical. Um, and she showcases NFT artists working with photo practices that kind of defy the common definition of photography, I think is how she puts it. And that was kind of where we landed in her periodical. So that was pretty neat.
That is very cool. It's cool how things are just meant to happen sometimes, right? You accidentally hit that in your searching around, you accidentally hit the request to speak, and look at how it all worked out. That's so cool. It's a really neat
Right.
story.
Exactly. I love that it's sort of serendipitous, and it just kind of worked out. And then obviously being in that space again with him, and you reached out. So it all works out. I guess it's just a matter of hanging in here.
Yeah. Good people. Good people attract good people, attract good people. It keeps going. I like it. I love it. I love it. Cool. All right. Well, we've got that out of the way. Now we are definitely here to talk about the art and anything else that comes along. That was a really enjoyable little opening there. I appreciate that very much. So Brain Digs is a team of women, you yourself and another person that create. You do the photography part.
We
And
both kind of
oh,
do both parts of it. It's not
oh,
one does the other. Yeah, we share that, and we hammer out ideas together, and then depending on what the mood is and whose idea is what, and if they have a vision to it, we each kind of divvy that up appropriately. So yeah, we've been working together for a long time, since about 2008, I think, was the first um, times we started working with glass together. And I think that was, yeah, like 2008. So we've been doing that for a while, but the introduction to NFTs was something that I thought was really interesting, and I didn't have anybody to teach me any of this. Like, this for me, not in my wheelhouse whatsoever, but I found it really kind of intriguing. And once I found that, I was like, these glass pieces that we make would work in this NFT Web3 kind of idea, because they improve the image. The glass is very interesting if you just look at it with your naked eye. However, when you look at it up close in macro photography, it's phenomenal. I mean, there's just so much going on and so many interesting things happening, and things that you wouldn't pick up if you were just looking at it in your regular naked eye. So that's kind of how we got going into the Web3 thing.
cool. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it because I've that night, the first night that we heard from you, I definitely went and started clicking around, and we actually bought a piece for the WX8BK wallet too.
Yeah, good. Thank you, by the way,
Yeah,
for that.
no, our pleasure, 100%. Definitely appreciate it. I was just trying to look for the name of the piece, but then I got lost in. I went to go look for the piece, and then I'm just scrolling through all these pieces. And I'm like, oh yeah, shit, I was doing so. Big Brother, Big Brother is the one that we bought.
Oh,
Really
you
big
did?
piece, yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. Those are kind of a mixed media, in that they're the glass as well as other photographic images kind of together
Right.
with glass work. So the one I posted at the top is just our pure photo images of the glass work. And like, that image is an image of something that's approximately the size of a US quarter. So it's very tiny. And we're zooming into these really tiny things in the actual glass work. So that's
so
your
badass.
photo.
So, if it were just the glass work, would you consider that imperfections in the glass work?
Well, I guess if you were trying to make like say it was like a vase or something, yes, probably some of those things would be imperfections, like the bubble work, which I find fascinating and lovely. Like, I wouldn't want them not to be in it, but if you were making a vase or something in a production kind of way, or something like a plate or something, you probably wouldn't want all those bubbles in there. But for me, those are the things that make it interesting and visually pleasing. And
Yeah, as a photograph, it works great.
right. And we have made, originally we were using our pieces to make jewelry. So those, pieces were sold. Some of them were sold as with all those bubbles and the metal edge. That piece at the top there is a piece of copper embedded in the glass and fired with the glass. So that is part of the reaction that makes it so interesting, is what happens with the glass and the metal meet, and that creates those bubbles.
So, are you no, knowing that you're shooting that the end product is photography of it, right?
Mm.
Um, are you trying to actually specifically create these kind of imperfections?
Well, we do try to do things that react. So there's sometimes you can put two different glass pieces together and they will react in the kiln, and those reactions are some of the things that we try to achieve. However, our kiln is not repairable at this point, so so we haven't had a kiln for a while, and so now we're re exploring some of the other glass pieces that we have. Um, we have to try to save up and buy another kiln. So unfortunately, that's not happening right now, but hopefully in the future we can move on. Our kiln just died basically, and that.
So
Man,
were you doing this out of your house? The all the glass work?
Yeah, all the glass out of our house. Yeah.
that's
Okay.
cool. That's very convenient. That's a definitely something that not everybody has the opportunity to do. I know our friend Pong. I don't know if you're familiar with Pong in the space, but
Uh, yeah, I listened to that, and it was such a fascinating interview, and I enjoyed that very much, hearing about his work. Very nice.
yeah, it's a very. I mean, obviously there's still a cost to you, even though it's in your house. But I mean, for him, it's a big ordeal because I mean he has to go and rent space and time and
Well,
to get his pieces done.
yeah, there we're doing two different types of glasswork. However, he is blowing glass,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and we are fusing glass. So it's quite a different. There, it's pretty hard to have a glass blowing thing in your house. It's so expensive, and you usually do have to rent space for that. But for the fusing, it's not quite as cumbersome, and you don't need all the like the glory hole and all
Sure.
the other things that you need when you have a
Okay.
It's a little more.
I definitely want to go down this rabbit hole a little
It's
more, learn more about using glass.
But I was going to say it's a little more like back in the day. I remember when I was younger, the in the malls there used to be like there always used to be somebody set up in the middle of the mall doing glass stuff, right? And they were always doing the smaller version, blobs and
yeah,
making jewelry
yeah.
and
I remember that as well. Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know what happened to those people.
right. Well,
But
it was probably like Jesus Christ, we're just letting this person like run like torches in the middle of the mall.
maybe that's it, and like explosive glasswork
Yeah,
everywhere.
we didn't have those in California in our malls.
No.
No.
I was just thinking the same thing. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Yeah.
Well, I remember it growing up too, but I'm from the Midwest originally, so
Yeah, where did you grow up?
in Wisconsin, and now I'm in California.
Where all the cool kids are, I hear.
Exactly,
That's what I hear.
right?
I'm up here in Canada. We're just hanging, whatever.
You're in, where are you?
I'm in Canada, in Calgary.
Oh, oh, Calgary. Okay.
Yeah. Willie's
Ah,
Willie's down there in Cali. He's in the desert.
okay, Southern California.
Really, where are you?
Cute.
Willie's answer to that will be he'll let you know in a DM, but he doesn't like to let it know
Oh,
publicly.
yeah, yeah. Okay, cool.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's all right.
okay.
Yeah,
I lived.
sorry. There was also a motorcycle race going on behind me. So
Good
I
one.
see. Yeah, because I've lived
yeah,
kind of all over Southern California, so chances
I'm
are
in
I've
the
been.
I'm in the bottom of the Central Valley.
Got you. Got you. Okay, cool. Yeah, I've lived in Apple Valley. I've lived out in, those areas before. Grew up in San Bernardino. I know some of that area.
It's the hot part of California. Um, so Lisa, I just kind of wanted to circle back a little bit. So glass blowing, sorry, pardon me. What do we just want to call this? Glass art? Glass?
Well, I
Is there a
just call it
specific?
glass art,
It's just
but
glass
yeah.
art. Yeah. Okay. I was just gonna say, is there like a specific genre? Um, so how did you get into that? Where did that come from? How did you stumble into that?
Well, that's a good question. I have always been fascinated with glass since I was pretty young, and always fascinated with photography. I've been taking pictures since I guess I have a picture of me taking pictures when I was about 2. So I've been loving photography for a long time and worked in a photo lab. And then the glass came. I guess when I went to Seattle and visited some of the art galleries there and went through a tour and just fell in love with the art that they were creating in glass. And a lot of it was fabulous, but not something I would have been able to do in like a home, like we were talking about, like in a home studio kind of setting. And the fusing was something that we were uh, able to do and able to do it in our home. And we we too lived in Canada for a while. And
Good for you.
yeah, we were in Vancouver area, in Vancouver
Oh,
Island.
nice.
And so that was what we did there for quite a number of years. And we ended up going to Seattle a lot to pick up glass and stuff like that. And so just spent a lot of time around the glass kind of community up there a little bit and enjoyed it. But that's kind of how we got into the glass part. And then both of us have been in around art all of our lives. My father was an art teacher and a sculptor, metal, which I love as well. And then my partner's father was an art collector, so they always had art around their house, and it was a big. We're big art fans, so we both appreciate art a lot, and that's kind of how we got started working together.
Definitely the art blood, going deep. It's interesting. It's a contrast to some of the other stories we've had, and like we had last week, where a really great artist became her teachers, and people outside of her family were going, no, you need to be an artist. And her family was like, do you want to starve? You don't really want to be an artist. That's not a job. So it's kind of cool to hear that there was some art vibe going through both of your veins. That's really neat. It's not something we hear all too often.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. So, and I've always done a lot of different types of art. I've loved encaustic art and photography, welding, you name it. I've got I've got a lot of hobbies. So, but this one I've managed to kind of lasso around this glass thing and the macro photography thing. So, the NFTs have been a way of sharing that with people, and I'm really enjoying it.
I love welding. I think I love fusing pieces of metal together and making things, and I do it not too bad. In fact, I made some table legs this weekend that I got to get bolted on, but that'll be next weekend. But it's funny. You give me wood. That didn't sound right. If I if I take wood and try to build something out of wood, I fuck it up all the time, left, right, and center. And it's like in my head, I go to myself, I'm going, it's just like taking two pieces of steel. Like if you take a 2 by 3 inch piece of steel, it's just like 2 by 4s. You put them together, right? And it's like, but no,
it's the exact opposite. You have heat and fusion that molds metal together, right? But you need friction and mechanical pressure to hold wood together. So it's a completely different mindset.
Yeah, wood pisses me off.
It's different mechanics and
Right.
physics and yeah.
And welding is like additive.
True enough.
Thing to put something together, and with wood, you're usually removing something, cutting it to put it together or something. So, I think welding is a little more additive.
Now, plastics, on the other hand, learning to really become pretty handy with the plastics.
3D printing. Let's go, folks. Okay, so I'll post a picture of my table legs next week, folks, for all of you that are wanting more from that story. But right now, we're gonna focus on brain digs tonight. So definitely in both of your bloods, there was definitely some art going on, and the photography's been a part of your life forever. I mean, definitely, if you got a picture of you taking a picture too, there you go. It's meant to be. So the NFT part of it, How did that come along? How did you discover this NFT thing, and that you knew that this was a good venue for this?
Well, that was a difficult process. I started looking in first to the coins and the Bitcoin and all that stuff, and was kind of going down that rabbit hole a little bit until I heard of NFTs, and then I started really looking into that because I'm like, maybe this is my route, because I had been doing art, off and on for a long time, and I'm, not. I mean, I have a day job and not able to totally focus on it. And I thought, well, maybe this is a way of actually being able to funnel and focus things a little more clearly. And started doing a lot of research and looking into this. And like I said earlier, I really didn't have anybody that I could call up and go, hey, bro, tell me how to do this stuff. I didn't have anybody here. Even though I'm in the Bay Area, I just didn't know anybody. And so I just started looking into it myself and started diving in and listening and kind of going to those spaces and trying to learn what I could before leaping. And then, of course, I leapt too early anyway, which I think most of us did. And so everything was like really expensive and pricey, and nobody knows how to price anything, and it was just kind of a crazy time. And then I've just been hanging in here, trying to learn every day a little bit more about art and about Web3, and trying to focus on doing more art and still managing my regular life as well.
As a lot of us are here. A lot of us are here. I mean, we're very fortunate if we get to play in this Web3 world, and those of us that get to create art and share it with people and sell it. I mean, it's a powerful thing. And I mean, Willie and I have been front row center for all of this. We are not artists, but we love art and we love chatting with people. So that's why we're here, and we've been here just enjoying the ride, and it's been a hell of a ride. And we're lucky that we get to be here to do these kinds of things.
And we both kind of came in the same way, just wanting to learn and kind of like, okay, there's something here on a more global level as far as like crypto and NFTs and stuff like that. So the more we can learn, then the better advantage you'll have when the rest of the world starts actually adopting.
Right? Yeah. So did you? At about what point in time? But about what year was it that you started looking at crypto? Do you have an idea ish?
Yeah, I think it was like 21. Started looking into it and trying to figure it out, and there's just, it was so overwhelming to me that I'm almost gave up. Like, this is too much for me. I'm not a technical person, and this is kind of like, I was kind of discouraged. I'm like, what am I doing thinking I can deal with this stuff? And I still feel those on some days. It's like, I don't know where to start here, but I started, and I've been enjoying it. I do feel like I'm never gonna quite get it all, but maybe nobody else does either, unless you're an engineer. Maybe you don't really understand it completely either, but I've certainly made a good attempt at learning and trying things that I never thought I would be able to do. And I mean, just the little wins for that you kind of need to celebrate to keep yourself going is important, I think.
That's a beautiful, positive thing to hear right there. I like that a lot. A lot more people should, pay attention to what you just said there. It's the little wins, celebrating the little stuff. I mean, the times of everybody, dropping NFTs and making millions and selling, for obscene amounts of money. I mean, that was a time. It was there. It happened. But now, especially in this market, you gotta, even in real life, in everyday life, right? That's what it's about, man. Celebrating the little wins.
Exactly.
I love that. Made me feel good. Feel good moment. Gonna mark that down. Put that in a coffee mug later. Okay. So, y'all mint on Tezos and Ethereum. Any other chains?
Yeah, we're on Solana.
Oh, cool.
I just I just dropped on Solana relatively recently, our piece, and let's see if I can find it for you here.
Sure, feel free.
Let's see. This one is our Genesis on Solana Exchange Arts, and so this is kind of a combination of our families' legacies, and those birds there are my dad's sculptures, included with some of her family heirlooms and our glass work in there as well. So we've got it all together in one image, and it's called Legacy.
Oh, that's cool. Just taking a moment to absorb this and just getting it popped up for YouTube folks here if I can get it going on, but or I'll just try to pin it to the top like you already did. What am I doing?
I'm trying to pin. That's always been like find it, talk, and pin at the same time is always a good skill to have.
Right? It is. I meant to actually try to get it onto my computer, and then I went to go pin it, and I'm like, nope, we've already done that. That is so cool. Good story, good vibe in that one too.
Yeah, I really like this one a lot, and so that is our Genesis on Solana.
So you said those were somebody's birds?
Those are sculptures that my dad
okay, sculptures. Sorry.
Out of metal, and so that was included in this piece called Legacy.
Oh, very cool.
Is that a single picture, or is it multiple pictures layered on top of each other?
Yeah, it's multiple pictures. It's the birds, the figurine in the background, and then our glass work over it or under it. I can't tell.
Very neat. So,
but yeah,
that kind of ties me into the. Okay, well, I had another question, but I'm going to go to this question now too. So, who's doing the digital combination? Who's doing the computer work? Are you both sharing the computer work as well? Because I mean, some of your other pieces, like we said at the beginning with the Tezos pieces, like there's other elements to it. It's not
right.
Just straight.
I'm doing most of that work.
Okay.
I'm doing most. Yeah. So yeah, that I really enjoy being able to kind of pull the different subjects into one image and try to make it a graphic image that resonates with someone. Like I feel like that's kind of the important aspects is composition, and that's one of the things I do like about the images of ours, just the macro photography. Many of those my partner had done the photography of some of those, just the straight photos, and the compositions are just, I don't know, they're stellar, I think. So, and that's all within this, millimeters. So it's really hard to get a great composition when you're working so tight. Mm-hmm. And he did a great job on that. And then I do some of the editing and cropping and that sort of stuff.
Oh, so cool. So when you're working together, I mean, obviously there's going to be disagreements, and how is the dynamic? I mean, you've obviously been working together for a while. How's the dynamic with that? Are you on the same wavelength where it mostly works out all the time, or is there a lot of back and forths that happen, whether positive or negative?
Yeah, there is some back and forth. I mean, I think we have a pretty similar aesthetic in general, or we couldn't do it, realistically. But like I might do some editing or something and come and say, like, what do you think of this? And she might be like, no, I think, you need to do something, and, I'll change it. And then we'll kind of go back and forth, and I'll be like, how about this? And I'm like, nah, I think I need to do it over here. And so there's an exchange between the two of us. But in general, I think, we work on it until we both are like, yeah, that's it. That works.
Oh,
so
cool. That's what I was kind of wondering too. I was gonna the next question was gonna be, so is there ever something that's been out there where like the other person's like, no, that's horrible. Fuck it, I'm minting it anyways. I don't care.
Well, I hope not. I don't
Mhm.
know. I hope not. No, I don't
Mhm.
think so. But
Mhm.
well, actually, that's not true because when I first started, when we first minted, and I put some stuff out, and I was like, oh my god, no, this is not. I got to take it down, and I burned it or whatever. I don't know what it. I don't remember actual burning it, but it's removed from OpenSea or whatever because I'm like, I just don't want this out there. And but that was just because it was like learning. It was learning. Everything was learning, and it still is. So there may
Mhm.
be more to come.
Right.
Uh,
And that's the awesome thing that that I find in this space is the learning and the learning. I mean, if you're not learning in life, then you're dead, right? And it really the Web3 world and NFTs and the art really pushes people to keep learning because I mean it's all advancing. Like you said earlier, we're not all engineers and we don't know all of this shit, so we don't know everything, but like we keep learning and keep learning, and there's so much to learn. I mean, if you're not learning, wake
Yeah,
that's one.
you got to learn 3 new social medias a day,
up.
not accounts, like full social media platforms just to stay up with things.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, it is a challenge, and that I mean, I think that's one of the things that's so kind of draws me in is because I do like a challenge. This is more challenging than I had anticipated, but I'm starting to get more comfortable after a couple of years. But still, it's like there's always something to learn, and I mean that keeps your brain moving and young. So I can't argue with that, really.
Mhm. No, definitely not. And you're creating stuff that's keeping other people's brains moving too. I like this. It's funny. I knew you were on ETH, but I never looked at your ETH stuff really. And I'm just clicking through it now, and I'm digging it. The more raw, it's very very cool. So, did you? Was it automatic? So it was. Was it kind of an automatic thing to go to macro? Was it a
Uh,
discuss?
I have always been fascinated with macro photography since I was younger. I took a lot of macros and tried all sorts of different stuff. Um, but this just lent itself. I mean, it was like the two came together in such a wonderful way. And like I was saying earlier, that it improved the original glass, which, it's one thing to take a physical piece and then make it digital. And it's like, well, you're somehow pushing it down to get it into this format, right? It was meant to be, a painting or whatever it is. And this way, I mean, it was like, oh wow, but this looks so much cooler when it's photographed this way. It's still pretty if you look at the pieces. They're beautiful, but they don't look anything like they do up in macro photography.
Hmm.
And so that was one of the things that I found, like, okay, this makes sense to me because it doesn't really make sense to make something go less quality to get it to achieve the Web3 goal, right?
Yeah, for sure. Never really thought about that way, but that's cool. So you're making something that just lends itself to this format. It was meant to be. Um, and for folks that don't know what macro photography is, I mean it's getting deep in there. You can take, for instance, if you have, I have an iPhone 14, which has great cameras on it, but you can only go so close to things. If you had the i14 Pro, I do believe you can get better macro stuff. But really getting up close, if you take your camera and try to get really up close to something, like to see the grains of wood or something like that, cameras don't typically do that. And with a macro lens, it allows you to get deep down in there. What I was going to say what a macro lens was, but what makes a macro lens a macro lens? Can you answer
Mm,
that?
I'm not sure if I know. I mean, it must be the depth at which the focal point is in the lens. But honestly, I don't know the answer to that question.
I love it.
So,
I love it. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, that's what I was just gonna say. It's a different curvature of the lens, and yeah, the focal point that makes total absolute sense. But anyways, kids, try it at home. If you take your camera and try to get a really up close photo of something, anything, you'll realize it doesn't work. And that's where a macro photography and a macro lens come in handy. I actually wish I had have got the i14 Pro because I was trying to take some really close up stuff, and I thought it would have did it, and then I googled it, and I'm like, God damn it! Should have spent another $500, right? Just. Or,
Okay.
I do have
Right.
I do have a macro lens for my full size camera, and I enjoy using it. It's really cool to get into those worlds. Back in my high school days, I dabbled in some recreational hallucinogens, and that's what used to be my big thing. Is I used to really like to get, drop a tab of acid or do some mushrooms, and I used to like to get really close to stuff and look at all the imperfections and the edges. You look at a piece of metal and it looks like it's all smooth and flat, but if you get close enough and you start looking, you realize there's imperfections in all this stuff, and it's a whole different world. And something like the glass is totally something that I would get lost in and get close to, right? If you got even if you had, say, a glass of wine, but it's in a fancy crystal glass that has lots of edges and stuff like that, when you look closer, it's just a whole different world that's going on there. And I mean, like, let's never mind when you get into nature and you start thinking about funguses and the small microorganisms that like live on a beach and stuff like that, or grains of sand. There's one too. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean the worlds that you can explore up close are pretty incredible, and that's what I tend to call these worldscapes that we create, because once you start looking in, you see all these, you can see landscapes, and you can see um, sculptural sculptural things, and it all kind of centers on this really tight, close up view of this little tiny world that we've created. So
Do have you ever experienced with showing somebody something like this and going, here's this piece of art that I created, and they, oh, it's beautiful, and then do you ever get to show them what it came from, like, and here's where I took that photo from, and then they go, wait a minute.
I do have, yes, I have, and I do have some pieces that um, from the ETH collection that if you buy the NFT, you will get the actual piece of glass in a necklace form. So you could be wearing the piece and have the NFT in your wallet, and I don't even know if you would recognize them because they're so different. Um, but it's kind of cool idea, I thought. So,
Oh, that's
and people
very
have
cool.
asked like about it, so I thought, well, yeah, let's do a couple of them like that, and see what happens.
And I guarantee you, Willie, just like myself right now, is going, okay, let's go dig through this right now. No, that is
It's only up there right now, but
that's
but
that's very cool. And yeah, to show that to somebody would be awesome, because I mean, I'm picturing these pieces. I mean, is there kind of an average size? Is it always like that jewelry size, like a pendant kind of style? Is it?
yeah, they're all about about a quarter, U.S. quarter.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's cool. See, that just even there, like, to look at these pictures and then to think about it, it's like I want to see the real thing now. And then I'd be like right there looking at it, going, "Where's my recreational hallucinogens?" No, just kidding. I'm going for a ride in this piece. I don't partake in that anymore, but
Of course not.
no. It's all about the marijuana and the wine now, and coffee. It's the only drugs I do.
Right.
No, that's really exciting, and that's cool to be able to, I hope in the future that more people get to experience that, to actually see these pieces as an NFT, and then to actually be able to look at the actual where it came from. I think that just be a mind blowing kind of deal for a lot of people experiencing that. Definitely. So when you're creating the glass, when you're doing the glass, are you buying like glass rods and stuff like that? Like, you're not buying like shattered glass in a bag, are you?
No, they're sheets of glass.
Okay.
I do have some glass rods. That's kind of a different process, even though. Actually, I can show you this one. Is created with glass rod, kind of in a sculptural form. Let me see if I can grab it here. Yeah, this is it. So this one, was done after our kiln broke. So I just was like, okay, they're not permanent, because they haven't been cooled correctly. But I created this more of a sculptural piece, and did it go up to the top there? I can't tell.
Usually takes a few seconds for us. It's not up there quite yet, but I definitely know it will.
Yeah. So this one was created using a torch and glass rods, and so, but like I say, it's not. It hasn't been cooled correctly, so it's kind of vulnerable. It can break, and it's fragile. And this is the title of this series I'm kind of working on right now, is called Frangible World, which frangible kind of means fragile, and it's kind of a comment on, I mean, or the glass pieces in our world, and then it's reduced in our world to this tiny little thing, and then I in this piece have created this huge piece of glass, and then me in this tiny little world. So it's kind of like a full circle of putting myself in the space, kind of a comment on scale, and just
Yeah,
this.
there's a tiny little person in there.
Yeah.
Who did the animation on that?
Well,
Yeah.
that's it's not really animated, but
Illustration, I guess, would be a better
yeah,
word.
it's a photograph as well, and that's me actually in the image, and then reduced into this tiny person in this huge landscape, which was created and is actually tiny. So it's kind of a play on that.
That's cool that it was this piece that you put up there, because I remember looking at this piece a couple days ago, and I was like, I just every time it draws my eye to it because it looks like a little creature to me, because it looks like it has the
Right.
eye kind of in the middle of it, like it looks like some kind of like sea creature or a whale that's had a bad day or a great day. Oh, that's really I really like it that you
So
brought that up.
yeah, so something really a little different, a little twist on what we've been doing before. But necessity is the mother of invention, I guess, right? So you keep creating with what you have.
And let's face it, when we're artists, doesn't matter if it crashes and burns. You can go, well, that's art. It's not what I was going to
Well,
make.
and that's kind of that. I mean, I guess that's kind of the point of this in a maybe a subtext of this is that everything is so fragile, and our environments are fragile. Our work life is fragile. Everything is, and this frangible state that I've created here in Frangible Power, I believe, is the title, and it's the frangible power that we have to fight for every day. So there's a lot going on in this piece, actually.
You might have said this earlier, but is frangible a real word, or is this something you have
It is
penned?
a real word. Yeah, it
Oh,
is a
okay.
real word.
All right.
Someone asked me that too. Another person asked me that the same question. Like, that can't be a real word. I'm like, yeah, it is.
Oh, damn, I love
And
it.
it's perfect. It's a perfect word. So, doing a little series on frangible. So there's hopefully more to come of these types of things. With the tiny person in this big environment is the idea.
Right. And did you say that was you?
Yeah, it is me.
Oh, cool. That's even more badass. Frangible, there it is. I just looked it up. Frangible. The frangible.
Yeah.
The definition is frangible through deformation. A material is said to be frangible if through deformation it lends a break into the fragments rather than deforming elastically and retaining its cohesion as a single object.
Pretty perfect, right?
Wow, yeah. And then it say that the frangible skull of an infant. It's a very weird definition, but
Wow, that's a creepy.
that isn't it.
That's really creepy, but
Oh shit! If Dehiscence was here, she'd be like, "No, that's a great definition of that."
yeah. So I'm gonna work a little bit more on those and try to get a few more pieces out, kind of in that little series of frangible things, and do some more.
That's absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it so much. Um, do you? So I mean, you're dabbling in crypto and NFTs. You, metalworking is in your blood. Glass, photography. You obviously do. You're doing digital stuff. What other artistic things do you do that you can uncover for us right now?
Well, let's see. I do a little bit. I did a little bit of encaustics, which is melting of beeswax. But I started having some trouble breathing and coughing and lung stuff, so I quit doing that. And same with the metalwork. I love doing a little bit of metalwork, but I was having some trouble breathing with that, so I quit that too. So mostly it's been kind of, I haven't had any lung trouble with the digital work, thank goodness, so far. And the glass work is in a kiln usually, so I haven't had any trouble with that either. So I'm gonna probably try to stick with those. I do love encaustics. I love beeswax. I grew up with bees. My dad had bees, and
So other than candles, what what can you typically make out of beeswax?
well, are like painting with beeswax, basically, and it's tinting the beeswax with color, or buy now you can buy beeswax in various colors, and you melt that and paint with it, basically. And I do love that, but I love the smell. It reminds me of my youth, I guess, and just the smell of bees. So
See,
um,
I can't say I've ever heard of that. Of all the mediums that we've heard of and talked to, I can't say I've ever heard of that. So I
that's
learned something new again
that's
today.
that's a really great medium to explore, and it's fun, and it's hard to control and all that stuff. With same thing like with our class. There's a lot of serendipitous things that happen, and you can't really control everything. You can't really control the way things um, react with each other, and that kind of stuff. So you might have an idea of what you want something to look like when you put it together, and then there's always a surprise when you open the kiln up and you see what exactly happened in that 1400 degrees or whatever temperature. And you have to cool it very slowly so that they don't crack, and um, hope that when you're done, you've got this beautiful little piece that you can then explore and take into another level with the macro photography.
So is that something I mean, with obviously the nature of shit happens, definitely can happen, especially when you're dealing with the glass and the kilns. Um, have you become more accepting of the little mistakes because of this, or is there or a lot of, or is there times where you're just like, man, I wish this would just work the way that I want it to work? I mean, or it goes kind of both ways, I would imagine.
Well, I think it goes both ways. I mean, I think part of what's so enjoyable about it is that you can't really control everything, and that you can just open the kiln up and see something that you're like, holy cow, that is amazing, and not have total control over making it happen. You learn as an artist, like what things will do, kind of things, what glass when you put together, what the reaction might be, but you can't really know exactly what it's going to look like. And then when you dive in there and you look close up, you're like shocked at how much beauty it is in it. So it's just really fun.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the thing too. You could you could look at it when you open the kiln and go fuck, but then it's like you look at it close and go, oh damn, this is yay, happy little mistake.
Right, exactly. Like you could think, oh yeah, that didn't work. That looks stupid, or it wasn't what you were trying to achieve. And then you look at it closer, and you're like, oh, but wait, this looks really cool. And then, we may light it like in a different way, or use a couple of various pieces together, one on top of the other one, to make something pop more, or make an effect after we've created it in the kiln. So by lighting it when we're taking the picture, it might be different than the next one. So all those things go into creating the piece. It's not just opening it up and taking a picture. So there's a lot of thought going into it.
Yeah, so that's really brings up something. So when you take a piece, I mean, I'm guessing that when you're creating pieces, you create a few.
Yeah.
At
You
a
have
time.
to create a lot, because you have to fill the kiln up, and you don't want to run a kiln with a couple pieces in it.
Gotcha. So then, like the process afterwards, like I mean, when you go, okay, this is the piece, and we're gonna photograph it. I mean, that must be something that can be a very lengthy process, just by what you described there about changing the lighting and adding something on top of it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that my partner does really well, is takes the lighting to a different level, and explores the photographs. She could take a bunch of pictures of the same like little quadrant of the piece, but with different lighting, or different layers, by laying another piece on top or underneath. And it's a totally different image. It's completely different. So all those things happen, and I've got thousands of photographs to go through to see which ones are going to work, and which ones will be amazing for the NFTs.
Right. I'm looking at these pieces, you kind of getting back to like getting down there and getting in there and being in there. Do you ever wish you could create some? I mean, I guess it would kind of lose its vibe a little bit, but do you ever wish that some of these could be larger? Like, I mean, I'm looking at this piece on that you have on OpenSea, Nanospume, it's called. It's got some like bubbles kind of thing into it, and it's like,
yeah.
Do you ever wish that you could create some of this stuff bigger? But I guess you can't really create it, because it's the happy little things that happen when you're creating your piece, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it could be. The effect could happen in a larger piece. I suppose that could happen, but
it's a total different gig.
I've always been fascinated by little things anyway, and the details in those little things. And so for me, the little minute piece is cool. And also, because now I'm even going deeper into them, it's even cooler. So.
So cool. Yeah, no, I was thinking about that as I was saying the question. I'm like, no, I guess these little worlds have to exist where they are. We need to get smaller so that we can go into these worlds.
Well, and that would be something I just don't know. I would love. I don't know if this is even possible. I'm sure it is, but I wouldn't know how to do it. But like to actually bring that little person in the image through that world. I'm sure there's some AI thing that could probably take care of that at this point, but I think it would be really a cool idea to try to go through this piece.
Oh yeah, there's a
but
couple.
I wouldn't know how to even start that.
So that brings me to, because there's definitely a couple of people in the space that I know could.
Oh, I'm thinking a collab with Purs.
Yeah, Purs or
would be perfect to let him take it after.
Right. And that kind of brings me to a question that popped into my head with thinking that is, obviously you two are collaborating with each other. Do you ever collab with other artists? Have you ever wanted to do collaborations with other artists?
Yeah, well, yeah, we actually collaborate with this 90-year-old artist in Spain. I don't know if you've noticed some of our pieces in our website. I don't know if I have any here. But there's these graphic drawings, and Gladys V is the artist that has drawn these amazing creatures. And when we saw him, we were like, "Oh my God, we need to do this and mint some work of hers." And so we incorporated our glass with her graphic pieces and minted them and have sold stuff of hers. And it's always a thrill to tell her that her artwork has sold. Being 90, she doesn't quite grasp what's happening, but I'm like, a collector in New York has your piece. And it's just so cool. It's so cool, and I'm always thrilled when someone purchases one of her pieces or all of them actually. So let me.
Is that
Let
on
me.
your? You said that's on the website that I can find those.
No, I think that would be those are in object.
Okay, click on object here.
Let me see if you can. I don't think I can get there fast enough to do it, but
Yeah, my
wait.
computer's been running butt ass slow. But we'll get it.
Um,
We'll get it up there. Just while we're
yeah.
we're digging around for that, just to give a little room reset. Y'all are in here listening to the Night Train. We are here every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. talking to artists about the art and the journey. And tonight we are talking to one half of Brain Dig's art, a couple of ladies that collaborate together, doing glass and macro photography and combining them into some amazing, beautiful stuff. And I guess there's a little bit of digital in there as well. And that's what we're doing. We're hanging out. All right, I'm on my object. I'm seeing which piece would I be looking for here. Is it in a collection all itself, or do we lose our guest? Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
sorry, my mic stuck. Sorry.
It's all right. No, whatever bad things you were saying about us, it's okay.
um, no, let's see. Let me just see if it's in.
It's also great. I mean, I'm enjoying clicking around here. It's just every time. I mean, I've looked at
Okay,
pieces for a few
it's
weeks
in
now.
Pushing Boundaries, and there's one called Boohoo,
Pushing
Ron Oral.
boundaries. Okay. Load, damn you. Oh, you know what I love about technology is how quick and easy it makes life.
Right, no doubt.
uh, sorry, what was I looking for now that I was being a smart
Ron
ass?
Ranaburo is one. Let's see if I can maybe get
Why
it.
am I not in the right frickin' collection? What am I doing here?
It's called Pushing Boundaries.
Okay, yeah, I'm in Pushing Boundaries, and I am Reflections. Oh,
If
Ranaburo,
only we
right
were
there.
set up to all be viewing the same video.
There we are, Ranaburo. That's right. I looked at it right there. I was staring right at it. I was spelling it wrong in my head, I think, is what was happening. But
Oh, that.
I'll get that queued up here so we can drop it up on the old Twitter machine.
All right. Yeah. So I think we have 3 of her pieces up right now, and there's a couple more I'd love to drop. And they're really they're super inexpensive. Or at least they were. Now that Tezos is more expensive, they're not
That's
as expensive as they once were.
1.75 Tez is still super inexpensive.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and she's sold a number of them, and I'm thrilled. So that's really kind of fun, and like I said, just sharing it with her makes my day. So
How did you make how did you make the connection with her?
well, she is my partner's mother,
Oh,
and she was recuperating from a stroke and using art. She never painted or did any art before. And when she was like 86, she had a stroke and started using art as therapy. And when we saw these creatures that she created, we were like, holy cow, these are so fun and so graphic and just cute that we thought we'd give them a try. And they worked really well. Like another one on there, Vacareno, is our glass work behind as well with her cow reindeer, I guess it is. And it just worked out really cool that it looks like a landscape. and that's our glass work included.
Got so exotic there. Vaccareno and
Vaca-
the cow reindeer.
Exactly. Something like that anyway. I don't know.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, no, totally. That's exactly what I looked at this piece. That's exactly how I would describe it. Cow reindeer.
Exactly. So she's got some special creative talent that never knew she had until after she was rehabilitating with her stroke. So
I think it's a beautiful thing how many people use art for rehabilitation, for therapy, to escape whatever it is. Like art is a medication. It's a medicine. And we've been so fortunate to talk to so many people who use it that way, and it just warms my heart. And it's really great to hear this as well, and to look at this people. Oh, the Vaccareno. Oh, we got a. Is this available? Oh, it's still on primary too. Oh my God, where's my Tez? I love it. There's not many. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, there's only a couple left. 6. It's a series of 10, folks. Jump on these now.
yeah, they're really fun, and they're just they always make me smile when I see them in my little wallet there. I'm always like,
This the Vaccareno. I really enjoy the glass that's behind it because it really looks like where that creature lives, right? There's a little sunset or a sunrise on the horizon there, in this land that this little creature is living in. It's cool.
yeah, that one worked really well with our glass, I think too.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nine-
they're fun. I've got a couple of more of hers that I haven't minted. I'm hoping to sell her stuff out before I put more up, but yeah. So it's just a lot of fun to see and work with her for sure.
And the fact that you can tell a 90-year-old lady that this is what we're doing, and she probably
I'm like, have you painted anything else? And she's got a whole little notebook. So
hurry up, paint more. We need a new car. Paint more. This
no,
is
so it's good. It's all good.
No, it's beautiful, and I think it's really exciting to bring somebody like that, and whether they understand it or not, the fact that I'm sure it brings great joy, like you said earlier, to tell her somebody in New York owns this now. It's there.
Yeah, and like explaining that, like, okay, there's collectors that have your piece in their New York collection. It's pretty neat.
That's
so
huge. Huge for anybody.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, exactly. It's huge for anybody, right? And she I don't think she quite grabs what's going on, but she knows that someone's buying her stuff, so that's really all that matters.
And she's 90 years old and still pushing forward, man.
Right?
Woo!
And recovering. So that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
That's really beautiful. That's a great story. There's a reason for her to be around and still doing what she does. Well, I mean, obviously, creating the Vaccareno.
Right?
Vaccareno. Hey, Vaccareno. Remember that song in the 90s? I think no.
I think that's Macarena, but
Oh, we got to end it here. Bye. No, just kidding. So is that something that you would look forward to in the future? I mean, that's a great collaboration. Is that would you do more of that? Do you enjoy that? Do you like, or is it not necessary?
I would,
Don't care either way?
No, I think collaborating is a great opportunity, and just there's so many great artists in this space that I think it would be fun to collaborate with artists in the space too.
Right.
Just with 90-year-old ladies, but that's fun too.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, no, for sure. I do think, Willie. I think we just need to put this on Purr's radar and say, here, can you do this, man? Can you make this happen? Because that dude, he does some amazing things with AI. He's an AI guru. He does, and he. What?
Who is this?
His name is Purr's. Purr's Beats. Purz Beats. Fellow Canadian. I just wanted to shout that out. Woo woo. Yeah, he does. What is the condition that he has? Anybody can jump in here and let me know. He cannot.
Aphantasia.
Aphantasia.
He's got aphantasia.
Right. But yet creates some of the most amazing art without being able to picture it in his head.
he's one of the ones that's kind of like, on the forefront of AI, because he's beta testing everything, all the different softwares, and he's just one of the bigger ones that does more video that AI that I think would be like longer form video.
Totally. And that would, I mean, creating one of these worlds might be definitely something that he'd be like, oh yeah. I don't know. It just like as soon as I said that, then it was like right away. It's like, yeah, PERS could definitely do something like this. It'd be very cool.
Yeah, sounds fascinating. Yeah, I would love to check into it more.
That's great. Your partner works full-time job as well. Do you guys have a gallery? Do you sell this stuff in the real world? I mean, obviously you don't have just a big pile of this sitting in your house, or do you?
Well, a little bit of both. We did sell for quite a while off on Etsy for a while. We don't have a gallery now. No, we don't. And we do have a pile of it in our house too. So.
All right. It's time now. Well, if you have a garage sale, let me know. I'm coming.
There you go.
It's so amazing. Like these pieces are just fantastic, and those little creatures are just like dope. Is there, if you don't mind, I did mention to you that whenever you want to call it time, whenever you have to go back to real life, feel free to do so. Anytime you give to us is definitely appreciated. But I was just wondering if it would be all right with you. I was just going to throw it out to the folks that are listening and see if anybody out there has any questions for you. Are you all right with that if I throw that out?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Nothing like putting somebody on the space, eh? One of these days somebody's going to be, fuck, no, I don't want to talk to anybody.
No, I'm perfectly fine with that. Yeah,
so
happy to answer.
I'll definitely throw that out there. If anybody who's been listening tonight has any questions about the glasswork or the macro photography or anything else along the lines for Brain Digs tonight, please feel free to come up and request, and we'll bring you up here. I do realize after testing Twitter Spaces all weekend here, I do realize that sometimes the lag time is crazy. Like I noticed as a listener, you can have I experienced up to a 20-second lag time, which was crazy. I mean, when you're speakers, you definitely, everything kind of connects together. But yeah, as listeners, it's pretty mind-blowing how long the lag time can be. So, but Inza is a speaker, and we've got her here just for this exact thing. How you doing, Inza? What do you got to say?
I'm doing great. A couple of things I have a question and then a comment on the whole art thing, and just it's just one of the things that's becoming louder and louder, I think, in the human conversation, where, I think art was considered kind of one of the softer, like it's a nice thing for people to do, and that whole, fringing it out. And we're just beginning to really understand how healing, like you're saying, when these people life-changing experiences or debilitating mental thing happens to them, or a stroke or whatnot, and artist is often the thing that brings them back into cognition or back into interacting with the rest of the human world. And there's amazing, I don't know if you guys have seen these clips with music where there's this one that's really touching to me, where this woman has Alzheimer's and doesn't recognize her son when he comes to visit. And then he sits at the piano and starts playing music, and she starts singing along with him. And she knows all of the words. And when she's singing, she recognizes him, like she knows who he is. And then she has some cognition for a while, and then it drops off. And yeah, it's just amazing. And I feel like it is one of these things that we're bringing more and more into the practical. Like, yeah, this shit is life, art is life. So hearing the story is it's so beautiful to include this woman in a current conversation. It's not like, oh yeah, and she doodles these things and we like pin it on the refrigerator or whatnot. We're taking it and making it a viable piece of art in the living relative world. And I think that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, that's a great that's a great way of looking at it, and I appreciate that a lot, because I do think that we as a culture tend to especially push old people out of the way, and you know not want to include them in things that in contemporary things and technology and all this. And I think it's really a great way to incorporate someone who's 90 years old into something that's kind of brand spanking new for most of the population.
Right?
Yeah, it's great. And also treating it like they're normal people. Like we do this thing where we treat older people like, I don't know, like toddlers or something, and just kind of skimming over that they're still viable, interesting humans, and they may have something else going on. They're in a different phase of their life, but they don't need to be babied and poo-pooed. They need just include them, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Great point.
I
Go ahead. Yeah, it's
I was just gonna say, I think you need to hook her up with a wallet, and get her collecting.
oh,
I'm not
that
sure
would be
where they.
awesome to see what she digs, right? That's really cool. And then okay, so then my question was, I'm fascinated by your name. Is there a story about how you guys came up with this?
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know if it's a particular story, but we have um, been fascinated by the brain. My partner's a physician and a psychiatrist, so um, she delves into brains and creativity, and that's kind of how we got into this, the digging into the brain and creating from it, from what you dig out. So that's kind of the story behind that.
Ah, very cool. That's a very good question, Inza. I didn't.
Yeah, great question. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was feeling it as I was listening to you talking, like, oh, okay, they're just kind of probing, and what's in there? What could we possibly find? And particularly, I think it really resonated for me when you were talking about your older friend that you're collaborating with. It's like, well, what's in her mind? That's really cool. I love that.
And then she's like, opening Bits' head and going, "What's in there? What's in there? What's in there? Nothing, nothing, nothing. You dropped a pen, pen, pen." No, very good. I was kind of hoping that Juliet was going to come up to us and explain give us a good definition of what a macro lens is. But you know what? I've really actually, I'm just kind of thinking about this. A lot of photographers do not typically, well, sorry, a lot of the photographers that we have spoken with and dealt with in this space aren't as tech nerdy savvy as you would think, right? Like, I mean, and even me, like I'm just an all around nerdy kind of person. Like, I'm interested in everything. I'll look at something really cool, but then I'll go like, okay, well, how is that working? What's going on there? I can't just sit here and appreciate it. I have to know more. But yet, if you ask me what's in my camera bag, I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you at all. I got a lens, I got another lens, and then there's an adapter that goes onto my lens, and I just know when to use them, and that's it. But I'll Google it later. But I think the focal point thing is very correct. I think you're right nail on the head there with that one. So I was just clicking around as we were chatting here, and Inza was bringing up her questions. Self risk, I believe, is what it's called. Self risk one. There's a one in there as well. What a piece! This piece really super duper stands out to me.
Yeah, this one was kind of an open collaboration with Rick Oostenbrock, I think his name is. And yeah, so that is his main drawing of the face. And those are our glass pieces in almost all of the, well, in all of the other parts of the face there. So he gave you the outline kind of the graphic, and then I incorporated our glass work within there and added the animation.
You added the eyeball.
Yeah.
Nice. Beautiful.
Yeah,
kids.
that eyeball is trippy, right? It's kind of. I didn't notice it moving at first, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, look at that!"
Gotta
Yeah,
just
I like it.
I want to poke it. So now, with the outline, was it just the silhouette of the head, or is the definition of where like all the colored pieces and everything was that all in there as well, or was that what you're your own creating?
Yeah, the definition of the colored pieces were separated out in his graphic, and then I took those different color separations and added our glass work underneath there.
Dude, digging it. It's fire. Is it not owned by anybody? It's just
No, I
owned by
didn't
you?
put it up for
Oh,
sale.
okay.
I didn't know if I didn't know how I felt about selling it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you can offer something if you'd like.
That's. I'm still scraping Tez from the couch right now. But no, it is a really really stunning piece, and it's really really eye catching. If we want to pun, ha ha ha. But so the darker color in the background, that's just like a clearer piece of glass. That's kind of. I mean, it looks like the moon. I guess is what I want
Oh
to say.
yeah, that's a glass. That's part of our glass.
Neat.
That's been animated, obviously, but
Sure.
yes, it's like a foil. I think it was like a foil piece, little silver foil that was melted in the kiln with the glass, and that created kind of this lunar landscape looking thing.
So with the foil, are you like you're putting that on the glass, and then it's kind of infusing itself?
Yeah, it's fusing. It's usually I put it. Well, this one may have been inside between two pieces of glass, and but you can put it on top of the glass and melt it as well. But I think this one was inside the glass in between two sheets.
Willie, we got to get into some glass stuff now, man. You, your wife's gonna hate me. What are you doing now? What is this thing that you're bringing into the garage? It's a kiln. What's the kiln for?
Nah, I got enough hobbies, man. I'm gonna stick with 3D printing for now.
That's because you just started 3D. Okay, well I'm gonna start glass, and then next year you can get into it. That's how it's gonna
But
work.
I'm not above digging a deep pit and getting ready to throw some meat on, and then like throwing some pieces down there and just figuring out what happens the next morning.
Right? Who hasn't done that? Right? Making the old beer bottle ashtrays.
Yeah.
Or there's like the raku pottery that's like that, right? You just throw it in a. Yeah.
You got to educate us on that one, Enza, I think.
Is somebody else talking? Oh,
It's
you know what?
Willie's
I
kid.
don't know a whole lot about it. It was something that I just one summer art camp. They did it in the park, and it was just a cool thing where you could. They used like high. I don't know what kind of special kind of clay, raku clay, and then they just burn. They make like a little makeshift hot oven, and they threw it in, and then it cures really quickly. And I think we like made little pots, and then we had some kind of makeshift dinner on them that same day. So it's pretty cool. We'll have to look it up.
Damn, we're gonna have to find an artist that does that and bring him on the space. Let's go.
Yeah, raku.
That is very interesting. Things that we learn on this space. I love this. Getting so educated, my head's getting so big from all the knowledge that I have. Shit, and I just lost the question. I shouldn't have said the smart ass comments. I lost the comment. Where's my question? Come on, brain, get back to me. It's probably the fact of that I just poured my first glass of wine now, and maybe I should have poured it a little bit earlier, but it doesn't matter anyways. What do you have any big plans for the future? Do you got any things coming up on the horizon that you're really stoked to do and to try out, or we just
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff that we're tossing around right now. We're again gonna try to do a little more animation. I've got a couple of little animated pieces that I'm not really minted yet, but I like them, and I'm trying to decide where to mint them. And then we're kind of want to explore a few more avenues with video and storytelling a little bit more, maybe. But that we'll have to see how that goes.
cool. The evolution of art and creativity. I dig it. When you yeah, I remember the question that I was going to get because I was looking at my piece of paper here. I just kind of wanted to round back to, you said you're on Tez, you're on ETH, you're on Solana. What was the first chain that you decided to make a go at?
That was our ETH collection.
Wow, you went big that way. You just like to spend the money on the gas fees, or?
Yeah, well, that was like I said, it was before I knew what I was doing actually, and didn't quite grasp the concept of gas. Well, I mean, honestly, you didn't have to pay on OpenSea. You don't have to pay until it. You had to pay one time, and then I think that was how it worked, and then you could mint until someone buys them. So it wasn't that expensive to mint on OpenSea, but I'm sure there were better options for me at the time, but that's where it went, and that's where we're at. So live and learn.
Right. Well, no, I mean, hey, it's a place. I mean, the bigger eyes are there, right? I mean, there are some big collectors on Tezos, and I'm sure Solana now. I can't really speak to it, but I mean on Ethereum and OpenSea. Like, I mean, if you're selling anything out there, you're doing that's super awesome, right? Because I mean, those are pretty big guys. Those are the pretty, it's a big deal. So, yay.
Yay.
So with the other chains though, was it self-discovery, or was it something that you brought in, or you just wanted to go different directions, or was there some reason that you went to the other ones just to get out there?
Well, I went to Tezos after ETH, but I found that like you could experiment a little bit more and not feel like so constrained with ETH. I tried to keep it just our pure glass, and so that collection is just glass and macro photography. And then over on Object, I've been able to be a little more free. Obviously, we've got Gladys V's pieces, and we've got a little more experimental stuff and combinations of various photo. I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for here, but compilation, I guess. So yeah, I mean, I've just minted on Solana, so I haven't really experienced anything. I haven't even purchased anything on Solana or anything yet. But I just minted that a couple weeks ago, so I'm learning that a little bit and how that works and what it feels like, and I like it. And I guess I struggle with the idea that why people are so attached to ETH when there's such better options. I don't really understand it, but that's again maybe something I just don't understand because I don't understand the technical bits about it as much as I should maybe. But it just seems like, wow, why would you spend money on gas when you could just buy another piece of art somewhere else? It doesn't make sense to me.
100%.
That's it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that totally. So when you went, you kind of touched on there that when you were minting on ETH that you went with just the pure glass pieces. Was it because you felt that it had to be that way, that it was kind of, to you, it felt like more of an eclectic thing where that's what you wanted to do? Did you want to separate the collections that you had made?
Yeah, I feel like I wanted to have them a little separate. I feel like it's easier in one way to say, oh, okay, my pure glass is over here and my more experimental things are over here, and my collaborations are here. So I guess I don't know if that was necessary, but it was just kind of how I started out, and that's kind of how I've managed to kind of keep it, I guess.
That's kind of a cool way to look at it. I like that. Instead of creating different collections, like just going to Tezos and creating different collections in Object that people look at. It's totally a great way. It's one of the better uses and ways to go about it that I've heard. I mean, we don't believe either which way. I mean, if your art can sell for 1 ETH, by all means sell it for 1 ETH, but it can also come over to Tezos and you can also sell it for $1,000 if you 1,000 Tez if you want to. But separating it like that, I think that's a very good way. It's a very good use of the tools. I like the way that you you kind of went about that. That's a very good way to go about it. It's very, it makes it more cut and dry, as you said, to tell people, like, if you want my pure stuff, it's right here. If you want this, it's right here. That just, it's not go to object and it's in this collection and this collection, but then you get muddled if you just go and look at the whole, all of your listings all at once. It's a great way to go about it. I mean, quite often, we'll have artists that say the worst thing that we freaking absolutely hate is like, well, I just practice on Tezos and it's my lower stuff that goes on there. And I mean, it's a horrible way to say that, because it really, really, really paints an incorrect picture of how it is. Just because you're on Tezos doesn't mean your artwork is worth any less at all.
No, I would never say that.
Yeah.
I just like Tezos because it's freer. I feel like more free for me to just try different things. And but no, the quality, I mean, I don't put lesser quality stuff there for sure. I would never do that. And then, I also have some stuff on Polygon, which is more of I've done some video stuff over there, and that's fun because we actually made some music to go with the little short clips of video. It's our glass. They're animated. They're really kind of fun. And I don't think anybody sees anything over there on Polygon. So I'm kind of disappointed. Like, I probably shouldn't have minted it on there.
What the hell is the marketplace for Polygon stuff?
I don't think there is. Well, it's on
Should be on OpenSea, right? Yeah. Okay.
It's on OpenSea, but it's in a different collection, I guess.
In the deep. So, hey, you want to buy on Polygon? Come
Exactly.
in here.
That's how it feels. Like, I don't think anyone bothers to look at it.
No. Go down to the bottom right. Go down to the bottom right
should
corner.
just be on Object, not Object. Sorry, OpenSea.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
Polygon.
Willie's gone down the deep dark alleyways of OpenSea and he's seen the Polygon.
Yeah, it should just be on OpenSea.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna click around there and look, on my slow ass computer internet here, right? Bloody thing. Is there any, it's a favorite question. I'm gonna ask it before Fendel comes up and asks it. When y'all are creating, do you listen to music? Is there some certain way that you create? What's your creative process? Like, do you pour a cup of coffee and go, let's go do some glass? Or, how does it work for you? Like, what kind of a groove, what kind of a mood are y'all in? I mean, obviously you both have day jobs. So how does it happen? Where does it come from? Slippers on a Saturday morning? You're muted. Or you just walked away from me.
No, that was me talking to the close mic.
You don't know how many hours I have of talking into a muted mic.
I guess our process is kind of like one of us maybe feels like I need to go do something, or I'm gonna, take these pictures, or it's not necessarily both together at the same moment. And so it's kind of like whoever feels like they've got to get something going and they get on it, right? I don't love listening to music. I'm probably the only artist that doesn't. I don't necessarily listen to music when I'm working. I kind of, it becomes really meditative, especially to create the glass part. Originally, it's very, like a little tweezers and dropping a little piece of glass in a certain place and gluing it on. Sorry, I'm choking a little bit here. Hang on one second.
That's okay. We can't help you, so don't.
Okay. So it becomes kind of meditative, and so I don't necessarily listen to music when I'm doing it because I can just focus on what I'm doing and get into this little piece of glass that I'm working on. The photography, I don't think when she's doing photos, I don't think she really listens to music either, to be honest. And she's way more musically oriented than I am. Mm-hmm. But
so that's interesting. So typically you're not always, it's just like one of you will go off and do something. It's not you don't always work together. It's not
not always together. Huh. No, not necessarily. We combine our skills and we may work together, or one might, want to make glass or do the other thing. It doesn't matter which one is which.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, I guess I don't even know what I'm comparing it to, because I mean, Willie, maybe you can verify it for this for me, but I don't think we've ever had, other than collaborations, I don't think we've ever had um, a team of people that works together to create art. I don't believe so. It's very new.
What are you talking about? We just had what's her name
Oh,
last
yes,
week that works
yes.
with her husband.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What's her name? There?
Hi.
Stacy Sullivan and her husband.
Yes,
That's right.
Stacey
That's
Sullivan.
right. That's right. No,
Thank
no,
you.
that's that's
Thank you.
cool.
I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Los Muertos
Yes.
art,
No, that's
and
very
I was trying to find the two names at once, and it wasn't working.
that's very good, Willie, and it's so fresh to my mind that I forgot about. That's correct, because she does the paintings and he does tin work, and she paints on the tin work as well as canvas and other stuff. But yeah, that he does the tin work, and then she paints on the tin work. I forgot. Yeah, okay. Haha. All right. Okay, I shut my mouth. There we go. Well, so now it's a new thing to us recently within the last week. um, it's kind of interesting. I would like to look
Yeah,
around a little more.
I don't know how many other like long term collaboration artists like the last 2 weeks
It's
we've
got to
talked to.
it's got to be a really, I mean, it's got to be definitely got to be a fine line thing, right? Because I mean, when an artist is creating art, the artist is creating their art. And so, to work hand in hand with somebody more often than not, I guess you really got to be in tune and on a vibe, right? Because I mean, obviously there's collaborations that happen, but people seek out each other with the collaborations. Whereas when you have somebody that you permanently work with, I mean, that's not a vibe that happens everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, everybody look around. I mean, sometimes, with your significant other, it's probably just hard to just have frickin' dinner with them sometimes, let alone create a piece of artwork and produce it and have a big hit. Huh. I want,
Yeah, but like I was saying, the similar, like we have a similar aesthetic, I guess.
yeah.
So it's not something that we need to be like one person over the other person's shoulder, kind of like, no, do this, no, do that. It's more free flowing that way, I
Yeah.
think.
And that's good, you're both on the same, you're on the same vibe, you're on the same wavelength, which is,
Yeah, absolutely.
you
Yeah,
know, which is even when I'm not one to talk about relationships or anything, the single guy over here, but I mean, even in relationships, right? Like, it's you can love each other and you can be with each other, but it's not always that you're all in the same vibes. I mean, I can tell you that a lot of the ladies that I've dated over the years, I mean, they're nothing like I am, but somehow, the old Paula Abdul, right? Opposites attract thing works. Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that story, but I just had to drop it there. Yeah, so you're on the same vibe. Like, I would imagine for a lot of artists, it would be very, a lot of artists have a lot of differences, so it wouldn't jive, it wouldn't work. I mean, a lot of the collaborations that I think of and I look at is typically, Tez Tones is a good example, and the stuff that Fendel does. Fendel down there, he creates audio and audioscapes and music, and he collaborates with a lot of visual artists. And I mean, that's usually the collaborations, to have two people that work together, maybe not necessarily together all the time, but that work in the same mediums to create something it's definitely pretty rare.
And I feel like, talking to some of the collab people that with, what we're doing right now with our stuff, with our collab, is I feel like the way a lot of like visual and audio, when they collab together, it's really like an Elton John, Bernie Taupin, where it's like, one of them either has a piece of music that they want art to go with, or they get a piece of art that they put the music to. Like, I haven't been seeing a lot of like, let's come together with an idea. I've been seeing them kind of both ways as far as like,
It's definitely a very interesting dynamic that I've never really thought about until our guest this evening. Opening our minds. No world without us. I just popped this up onto the screen here. This happy little bumblebee sitting in this beautiful flower, and there's another bumblebee bum over there. There's no glass here. Is this just owned by
There,
you, or did you take this? No, you didn't even.
no,
Ah, shit.
I took it, but it was entered into a hug show,
What's a
and
hug show?
it was in the Bali Muse Hive Art Hug show in Bali, Indonesia. And no, that was just a plain photograph that I took and of my lovable bees.
I love them. He's so great just in there. See, and that's another great example of, getting in there, right? Like it's one thing, if you were standing back and you saw that bee lying on, land on that flower, you'd be like, oh, look, there's a bee on the flower and it's pretty. Look at the colors. But then to get right down there and go, hey, bud, how's it going? What are you doing down here, right? Like you're right in there in the thick of it.
Exactly.
Ah, I love that stuff. I do. I love the whole getting down. I mean, I did mention earlier, back, when I was younger, it was the hallucinogens that caused me to get into that. But I am I dig that. I dig getting down to a level. Like, I mean, anybody in here, if you've ever had a dog or a cat, laying on the floor, have you ever just like laid down on the floor flat with them and gone down to their level? It's a different world. You see things that are different. Like, you wonder who put that damn piece of gum on your coffee table. And, and the fibers of the carpet. Like it's I don't know, it's a very real thing for me. I like getting down and deep and in and the little intricacies of stuff. For sure. And that little bumblebee hanging out there with his buddy in that flower. Good example of that. What you got for us, Inza? Inza, you don't even have to put your hand up in this place. I know
Okay.
you're very
All
polite.
right.
You can just
All right.
find a vibe and
All right.
butt in.
I just wanted to share something. I don't know if everybody saw this clip, but it was like a thing, probably one of the nature or our planet kind of things. But they did this hook. They found this new. I don't know if it's a new discovery, but they have found out that plants, the flowers in particular, have They emit a electronic vibration, and the electronic vibe has a polarity to it. And when a bee comes along, I might have this backwards. The bee comes along and it has the positive. Did anybody else see this?
No, tell us about the vibes.
Okay. All right. So the flower has this negative kind of vibration that it's putting off, or charge. That's the word, charge. Thank you. Negative charge. And as you go up the plant to the flower, there has the strongest charge coming out of the flower. And a bee's buzzing along and it has a positive. I may have it reversed. It may be the other way. So just know that. And as a bee's coming along, it senses the negative polarity of the flower, and that's what draws it in to where the pollen is. And what happens is when they come together, it neutralizes it. So it becomes like a non they balance each other out, and something about the bee landing causes the pollen to literally jump onto the bee's back, so that negative charge pounces it onto its back, and then the bee like flies off with the pollen. And after that happens, the flower then stops emitting this negative charge for a while until the pollen builds back up. So when you see bees buzzing around the flowers, they're literally like feeling out for the vibe. So the flowers that have given their pollen are sending out a signal to all the other bees that, hey, you know what? I don't have anything. Don't waste your time coming in here, and go to another flower. So I just found that so fucking amazing. And also, just like any of us who love bees, and you're just watching and you're like, what are they doing? Because you see them buzzing around and they're going like, what, how do they decide which one to go on? And they're just like having this energetic conversation, just working it out.
Whoa, my mind is like. Sorry, I cut you off there, Brain Digs.
No, I was just saying, wow, I've never heard of that, and that's an amazing. That is so cool.
Yo, I'm just down here putting off these negative vibes. I'm looking for some positive vibes. Can you come share?
No, it's just so amazing when we're like like you're talking about getting down and looking at things, and the tininess of life and all of these things. It's like sentience is existing all around us, and we're such bulls in the china cabinet thinking it's all about the human experience, or whatever we're doing. And I was reminded of that between the bees and when we're paying attention on a quieter, smaller level. There's so much going on.
So
It's
much.
just fucking amazing what's going on out there.
It is, and I've expressed this a few times in this space. Like a few weeks ago when we had Lily White on, and we were talking about her, um, you know, working with the forestry services and getting out there and dealing with the animals and stuff like that. And we were talking about sitting still and paying attention, and that's when the things happen around you, right? I mean, when you're making noise and being crazy and stuff like that and moving around and doing our human shit like we always do, staring at our phone, you miss a lot. And stuff like that, like this wonderful picture of this bee and this flower, like if you just take a moment and stop and let things happen around you, the stuff that you will see will blow your mind. And I mean, now, next time I go into my yard, well, probably not for another month or so before I see a bee out here, but that's gonna take on a whole new level for me. And I mean, bees are damn important. Let's just put it right there. I mean, I'm sure Lisa can attest to that. When she was a kid having bees around, we all know how damn important they are. If it wasn't for bees, we'd be up shit creek without a paddle. Bees are the ones that do all the frickin' legwork around here. Which kind of brings me to my next question that I wanted to touch on. And definitely wanted to touch base with you again, Lisa. If you got to bounce out, please feel free to do so, because we may have highs and lows in the conversation, but like it'll just keep coming for sure. What I wanted to touch base on here was I started to notice on the object profile down closer to the bottom, there's a lot of flowers that are involved in the pieces. And is it because of that connection with the bees, or is there another reason for it? I mean, flowers are just pretty too. There doesn't have to be a reason for it.
Yeah, the flower pieces are kind of regarding the fragile state of Earth, and I'm trying to see if I can get there. Those pieces are, yes, they're natural flowers, taken in macro again and combined with our glass pieces. And it's a comment on how we damage nature, and it's fragile, and I don't even know how to explain what I'm trying to say here, because that's kind of why I like art, because I can't really articulate it well.
Well,
But
whatever reasoning you give us, it's your reasoning, and we're going to hang
but
off of it.
yeah, it's nature, but not exactly nature correctly, right? It's like nature, but twisted just a little bit. There's something not quite right about it, and that's exactly what those pieces are kind of referring to. And yeah, they're just our glass work combined with photos of macro photos of flowers.
Sure. Is there something that I mean, obviously you enjoy macroing the glass and flowers, as we've just seen evident for there. Is there other things outside of these that you like, that you find especially satisfying to do macro photography of?
Rust.
Rust. Okay. Yeah, no, I get that.
I haven't posted anything like that, but yeah, rust, and I kind of have this thing for metal, and I've taken a lot of photos of metal and crinkled metal, and I don't know why, sort of this obsession with metal. Metal and glass. I don't know what's going on.
Well, it's very
There's definitely a
contrasting.
Metallica or like a Quiet Riot reference in here somewhere. There's a joke in there somewhere.
You totally took it out of my mouth, Willie. I love that. Yeah, and it's quite contrasting too when you think about it, right? When you go with glass and to metal, or flowers to metal, even, right? Like it's very contrasting. But I mean, metal is very cool on its own, because I mean, when you talk about like crinkled metal and stuff, like, because you think about a piece of metal and you take a piece of metal and you hold it in your hand, it's a very rigid, I mean, obviously if you're holding a stiffer piece of metal, I mean, obviously aluminum foil is different, so is, gold leaf, etc. But like, to hold a piece of metal that's so rigid and hardcore, and then to see that same metal that's been in an accident or manipulated and go, man, like it's all twisted and mangled. Like it's kind of it's like a wild thing going like, what power did it take to do that? And it goes through so many changes. Like you know, you just take a piece of metal and leave it outside, you know, for a few seasons and watch what it does. Right. You know,
Yeah, and the decay. I think I've always been kind of attracted to the urban decay and decay in itself. So, like metal structures and metal buildings that have, been dented and rusting, have always been kind of a topic that I've drifted to. Even though I haven't shown any of that, I don't have any of that in my NFT work. But in my other photography, I do, for fun. That's kind of the stuff I've focused on for a while. So there's that. And I did manage to find the polygon piece, and I posted it at the top. I don't know if it went up there or not. One of the polygon pieces, but that is a flower that we did created um, a video with our glass environment as well, and we created the music for it as well. So it's kind of a fun one. It's called Nature's Rebellion. So the theme, kind of runs through our work, I guess, is nature and its fragility and just fragileness in general. I think is part of the theme that we've constructed our work around.
uh, the nature vibes there. Do you spend a lot of time out in nature, or is it a lot of backyard adventures that you do, or are you a big hiker?
No, I spent a lot of time in my backyard during COVID,
Right.
and no, we're not big hikers, although um, we appreciate nature of course, and when you're out in it, it does feel great to be there. But my partner is a big gardener, and so that is our nature, I guess. And so we were able to explore that, and that the bees and all that happens just right in our backyard, and we have a pretty nice garden. So that's where that comes from. Like this flower in this piece is kind of this messed up flower that we grew, and it's so creepy that it worked for this video. It was really great.
You're messed up, but we've got a home for you, little flower.
Right.
It's very cool. I mean, in your own backyard, like I don't know how big your backyard or where it is, but like it's very cool what you could explore in your own backyard, and especially if you have somebody in the household that is into gardening and at least pays a little bit of attention to the backyard to either plant things or tame things up or put focus onto things. It's amazing what can be in your own backyard, even if you live in the smack dab in the middle of a giant city. And once again, that also rolls back to the just sitting there and paying attention to what the hell is going on around you. Um, I love my backyard.
Yeah. I was just thinking that when you're talking about, because going macro, there's so many things going on. You just go look at a sidewalk, right? There's like little things growing in it and little bugs crawling around, and yeah, there's nature. It's interesting, Lisa, because as I'm listening to you, there's the conversation of fragility of nature, but there's also this amazing durability and ingenuity and survival of nature as well. And it's a fun exploration to, I know we're at this crux on the planet, right, where we're just not sure how things are going because of the way humans have basically taken advantage of nature, and then to simultaneously be kind of paying attention to ways where she's adapting, and she's coming back, and she's still, you'll still see that dandelion coming up through the sidewalk, and she just has such a tenacity for coming back. And yeah, paying attention to the macro is a really, really cool conversation. So I'm not sure if that applies to what was going on, but it kept coming up into my head is the yin yang of it, fragility, but also, she's going to do whatever she needs to do moving forward, regardless of how it affects us. So there's that part of the conversation as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Um, it's true. The fragility and the strength and the resilience is all kind of wrapped into one thing.
Ha! I had my mixing board mic turned off there, and I was saying stuff. But see, I like it when I do that. I click it off on the mixing board, and it looks like my microphone's still unmuted, but it's not. I'm sorry, folks. I said the best things I could have said this whole space there, and too bad, too bad, too bad. I was also just answering Hash Brown back here. He was apologizing that he was taking the night off and he's not going to be in the space tonight. It's okay. Never expect an apology for not being in the space. I appreciate when anybody comes into our spaces and hangs out with us, and it's never expected. It's always appreciated, but it's never expected at all. I was just going to throw it back out there again. If anybody in the space down here listening has any questions that they'd like to bring up about the glass, the macro photography, no brain questions, but feel free to do so. Feel free to pop up and do that for our guest.
I've got some simple ones. Hopefully, not nothing as deep as the last bit of conversation we just had, but give some people some time to come up if they want to come up. So what, like when you're at the kiln starting to create your glass pieces, like how long at the kiln before you close it, or before it even goes into the kiln or whatever, like how long before you close the kiln and just sit on it overnight, or to cool, or however long, like how long are you there for that kind of part of the process?
Well, the actual creation of the pieces can take a couple hours, an hour, something like that. But you have to make a lot of different pieces before you put them in the kiln, because you just don't run the kiln with one or two pieces in it. So you have to fill up the kiln. So there's a lot of creating that happens before you actually get to the kiln part. And then you put it in the kiln, and then it has to ramp up to like the 1400 degrees. So it has to go very slowly to do that. And then you hold it. It should go overnight probably, and then it has to cool off again super slowly, because if you open it before it's cooled, all the pieces crack or fracture. And so you need to let it cool at a very slow temperature until you open it up. Once it hits almost room temperature, it can't be much higher than 90, 95 degrees before you can open it. But otherwise, you'll have a mess.
That's Fahrenheit,
all
folks.
Your work would be destroyed. So it's a long process, but then you get more than one piece at a time.
So how often would you be running your kiln if your kiln's running right now? Are you talking like once a month you fire it up, or?
Oh no, it'd probably be more than that. But like I was saying earlier, our kiln broke, so I haven't been able to fire anything for a while. But when we were up and running, I would say every maybe 2 weeks, every couple weeks we'd probably run a kiln. But it takes a long time to make all those pieces, and thoughtfully.
Yeah. So during that 2 weeks, you're putting pieces together and just kind of setting them aside and waiting for them to get enough.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I was telling everybody, I mean, we all gotta jump in, and like I was telling everybody, you gotta jump on Tez and grab some of these pieces. But I mean, if we gotta replace a kiln, folks, I guess we gotta jump on OpenSea, and everybody's gotta open their ETH wallets up.
There you go.
How come it's unrepairable? I mean, that kills me to hear that. It's like I'm like, well, I want to come over and I want to tinker. What can we do?
Yeah, I kind of want to know this too.
Right.
It probably needs like a whole, I don't know, like a whole set of coils, and I don't know if that's I don't really know what all happened, but it sounded like it was not worth it, I guess.
Gotcha.
Probably repairable. It's probably not worth repairing.
Gotcha. Is it, so you said coils, so is it it's electric?
Yes.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh. what is how does that hurt the electricity bill?
Well,
Holy moly!
yeah, it's steep, um, but that's why you don't run it every every few days because it's expensive to do. But I'm certainly not as expensive as trying to do like probably like a flat blowing system.
Hmm.
So no, we run it when we need to, but there's obviously if I mean you can take so many pictures of one piece of glass, and you can get so many beautiful pictures out of one piece that it's not like you need to have 4,000 of them or something.
True.
So there's a lot to explore in each piece.
So I mean, this is I was just thinking about that because you said you do have you don't have a studio, you don't sell on Etsy anymore. You don't have a studio that you're selling out of. So I mean, it's a big love for you. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong. A lot of artists do it for the love. It's not necessarily to make money, but I mean, you've created a lot of these pieces, and you got to kick it around. And it's because you want to do it. And I mean, would you like to go and start selling these pieces again, or are you more inclined to start steering this way towards the NFT world and sticking around in that? Or
I'm more to the NFT world. I think at this point, I think there's a place to do both things, but as far as the time consuming, I mean, the process is time consuming, and then the process of trying to sell it is so time consuming that I don't know that there's room for like another venture, at least in my time
right.
that I'm available to do all these other things. So, it makes it hard to kind of broaden it out more, I think, at this point for me anyway.
What about a few more offerings of if you purchase the NFT, you have the option to have the physical.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
a great idea. I think that's a great way of being able to share both the physical piece and the digital one. And I think people would be interested in that. But so far, I haven't sold any of those yet either. So
I agree. I gotta find those. They're on open. They're on OpenSea. You said, right?
Yeah, they're on
Okay.
OpenSea. Yes.
Yeah, I was just when you were talking about those, I was thinking like that right there is a brilliant idea because people, it's really these worlds colliding where we have NFT, which is kind of this intangible, beautiful thing we have on a screen, and then there's the real physical item. I think you're onto something there.
And I think definitely even the mind blowing realization when people receive the physical piece and they look at it and go, wait, you sent me the wrong piece. And then you'll have to tell them, well, no, like that little corner of that piece, like that's where that NFT came from, like it's a close up. Like I think that's where the mind blower I think would be for people is to really love this small little tiny piece of the inner world that you took and made it into the NFT, and then to actually receive that piece and go, what? This is it? Oh my God, right? Like it's just, I think that would
That's exactly like what you were saying. Like, oh, they're gonna think like, oh my God, you gave me the wrong piece, and I actually occurs to me like that's exactly kind of why I was holding back on that because I was like, what if they like don't like the piece that I sent, but they like the NFT or the other way around, like what, because they're so different. Maybe they won't like it. So I was a little held back by that actually.
Well, I guess it works either way though, because I mean, if they've purchased the NFT, that's the piece that they love, then they have that, right? That's what they're buying. And I mean, if they get the physical along with it, that's great. If they don't like that, well, that's fine because the reason they bought it was the NFT. So I think that's it's kind of buyer. It's you bought it. Like, what do you mean you don't like it? You bought it.
And also what comes to my mind is like you're going to have the NFTs and there's going to be a certain number of those, right? But there's only going to be one of those. So it creates a bit of a FOMO for that. Like only one person will get to actually own the piece. So I think that's really, really cool.
It is. I dig it. I totally dig it. I know it Willie's interested. He's wondering what kind of a big pendant he could have, hanging on his chest when he's laying at the beach.
Yeah.
Shimmering glass.
Check it out and find out which one you can have, Willie.
Yeah, you gotta put a couple on Solana though, because that's where all my earnings are at.
Well, that's not a bad idea. I don't have any problem on Solana. I'd rather people save their dough, spend it on somebody else's art than to spend it on gas. I find it ridiculous. So, we'll see. But yeah, I'll definitely look into that. Doing more.
I mean, something else you can do, like I think Enza kind of tried to touch on it, was because you can get so many pictures out of a piece of glass, right? You're not stuck to just minting a one of one and giving that piece away. You can still use that piece for 2 or 3 addition pieces, and then mint a one of one. Even maybe of a zoomed out full piece. Like, this is the one of one. It's been used in these pieces. So if you like these pieces, maybe you want this one of one, which comes with the physical. So there's always ways to kind of look around the corner and see what else you can do with it.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I like that. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of Web3 is you're not limited to anything, right? You don't have to be here minting anything. You don't have to be here talking to us. You don't have to do anything. So whatever you want to do, you can do all of it. You can do it however you want to do it. There's no set marketplace rules or anything that say that you can't, do things multiple ways. There are some copy minting things that you try to mint the same piece twice, but as long as you're not minting the same exact piece twice, then
no. And you could make like a little mini collection, 2 or 3 little variations of it, and then just the one collection that has the piece.
Yeah.
Oh. Very, very good ideas, guys. Thank you.
No, I dig it. I'm a big I think the physicals are it's a big thing, because I mean, you think about it. I mean, obviously, Willie and I have been learning that as long as we've been around, we keep finding new artists that we've never ever heard of before, and everybody else is like, "What? You haven't?" And it's like, I think there's definitely a vibe for that, and but I can't say that I've can think of anybody who creates pieces like this that could be physicals for sure. So it's definitely a niche. And the beautiful thing about it is that with a lot of the stuff that you've created, I mean, it's there. It's already there. It doesn't hurt you to throw it up and say this piece is connected with this NFT. If you buy this NFT, the piece is yours, right? It's not like you have to create some big giant frickin' metal sculpture that it's going to take up space in your house and you're hoping you're going to sell it, or like some of the canvas artists that we speak with, right? Like who literally have frickin' canvases like stacked up on their walls all over the place. I mean, Cats Will Eat You is an example. I mean, even Mike Nash. I know Mike Nash has big stacks of paintings.
I was thinking about Mike Nash's his physical piece that was tied to an NFT that the guy hasn't claimed. Basically.
Right? Yeah, the guy bought the NFT, but he hasn't claimed the physical piece. Like it's.
But that piece was a right to buy the physical. So if you bought the NFT, which he sold pretty cheaply, like 25 TES, something like that, then that gave you the right to buy the physical of that for another. I don't know. I never even got a price of what he was selling the actual painting for.
Oh, I didn't know it was that way. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Either way. But physicals are cool. I think that is one of the things that, as much as we want to be in this digital world and all this, there's been numerous artists who have shown it over and over again that when you slap out something physical, people still really, really appreciate that stuff. They really appreciate having the tangible thing in their hands. It's one thing to have, 53,000 songs on my iPhone, but there's something to holding a physical album in your hand and being able to, prop it up on the table and look at it and flip through that booklet and stuff like that for sure. So there's definitely definitely a super big market. We can't all be digital. I mean, the thing that I appreciate about the digital version of it is the fact of that in my small 1,000 square foot house, I only have so much wall. So when you look into my Tezos wallet or my ETH wallet and look at how many pages of art I have, I could never have that in any way, shape, or form. I wouldn't be parking in my garage, that's for sure. And they wouldn't be on display. At least I can flip through them. But yeah, no, you still got to have the
You know
physical.
what? You know what I was thinking around that? That's just kind of about a shower thought I had today. Is like, do people have screens up around their house where you know how they have like the little frames where people have a rotating thing of their family photos or whatnot? I mean, I think it would be really cool for people to have literal like screens at different places of their house where you can display your art or just rotate it out.
Yeah.
So there are companies who make specific wallet connected high definition, like super high definition screens. The biggest problem with that is they're mainly only for ETH, and some of them will accept Solana wallets.
Coop.
As far as I know, still there is no great solution for Tezos or many of the other chains that are not ETH or Solana. So, yeah, it's a thing. It's definitely a thing. It needs to be a bigger thing.
And their price points are very high. They're very, very
Yeah,
good. They're very
you
good
could buy
quality.
like 4 TVs.
Yeah.
Of larger quality for the
So
same price point.
we just need to get on this. I mean, for that point, you could even just put flat screens up and put the art up, right? I mean, it's not that big of a technology leap,
No.
really, right?
That's what I did. I mean, that's what I did in my kitchen. I actually put a whole new plug on my wall in my kitchen so that I could put a TV up. I have a plasma TV that I put up there. I've taken my pieces and I've put them into a photo album, and then that's what I have rotating up on there. But you know, the one thing like Willie had pointed out to me is that when you do it that way, if you have animated GIF images, you would have to actually make a file that they're all connected to and play that file like a video. Whereas you know, the ideal thing is that hopefully your photo album would just play the GIF when it comes around. Willie and I have been asking for a long time. We keep throwing it out there that if we ever
anytime there's any kind of web developer or any kind of developer or anything on the show, I'm like, hey, it's real simple. I know it's simple. It's basically Taya. Like you,
Right?
you could basically take
seems like it can't
take the
be
Taya
that hard.
code, strip it down a little bit more than that, and it should be that easy. But nobody wants to do it, or I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
but I do.
I feel
that's-
like it's easy, but there's somebody's either trying to monetize it before they release it, or I don't know.
I don't know. I think we need to. I think Willie and I are going to figure it out, and you're going to be
Do
able to.
it.
You're be able
Yeah.
to. You're be able to.
I-
You're going to be able to go to our brand new domain wx8bk.xyz, and you'll be able to connect your wallet there, and you'll be able to use it. It's what's
Hell yeah.
that's it. Willie he just nailed that down for us this weekend. Sorry.
Yeah, I think I at this point, I think I just have to do the coding myself and figure it out.
Yeah. hurry up.
And
Hey,
yeah.
maybe AI can code it for us.
We
tried
tried that. We tried that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It took us a totally different route.
We have our pieces at a coffee shop here in Berkeley, and I just put it up on a little cheap TV screen that I bought, and plug it into the back with a stick. They just rotate. They scroll through like a video, and if people see something they want, they can just click on the QR code, and then it sends them to my web page.
That's really neat. That's a really neat idea. Yeah, see, and that's the thing. Like we want to have that. We want it to be easier. We want it to where you go to that TV and you just put in your wallet address, and it shoots there, right? Like it would just be nice to do that because we all have these collections in our wallets. I mean, we've all collected these NFTs. It would be nice to make it that quick and easy. That's how I do it. Like what you're saying there with like the USB stick. I do it. I have an Apple TV connected to my one that's in my kitchen, and then I have an album in my phone or one of my many phones or my iPad, and I just call it up and I throw it up there. It's definitely, it works. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it. I think it's brilliant. I've had two people come over to my house and just stop and go, "What is this? This is awesome," right? And then we get into that really great conversation. But need to make it seamless. Seamless. That's really neat that you're doing it. So, can I ask you about that coffee shop TV? Does the QR code come up with each piece, or do you just have a general one that's underneath the TV? Mm-hmm. 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 And how many muffins do they sell at the coffee shop? No, just kidding.
Uh,
I was
uh,
I was playing.
every five or so images, the QR code will pop up on the screen, and then there's also just a plastic one that's sitting on the counter right below the TV that it can just click on it if they wanted to go to the website. It's just a general,
Mhm.
not for each individual piece, but it
Okay.
works.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope. Do you know directly that you've had any sales from that?
I don't know directly.
Yeah.
No,
Okay. Yeah.
probably not, but
Oh, you
no,
never know.
you don't know.
Do you ever go into the coffee shop? I mean, do you ever notice it? Like, do you go in the coffee shop and notice that people are paying extra attention to it?
Yeah, it's a really tiny shop where there's no seating, so it's just when people are standing in line, it's right at their eye level. Like you cannot like not look at it. It's pretty perfect that way.
That's
Uh,
super cool.
yeah, and it entertains people while they're waiting, so it works.
That's the beautiful thing. I mean, hey, if you can get them to not look at their phones for a minute, I think that's awesome. Achieved. Goal achieved. For sure. It's funny, I also wonder that too because I've had this conversation and I've done this with people in personally. Um, but it's funny because those people are like, oh, that's beautiful, oh, that's really nice, oh, this one is really nice, and then I bet you if you went up to them and go, yeah, these are some NFT, this is my artwork, these are some NFTs that I've done, I bet you they would just glaze over instantaneously and be like, oh, it's a what? I've just found people. It's really funny because I have found on a couple occasions physically being in front of somebody and talking to them and showing them some stuff and they're like, oh, that's really neat, and oh, that's really neat. But then for some reason, as soon as I say NFT
Or crypto.
or yeah, it totally changes their thoughts. And it's like, well, how does this change your thought on this? I don't understand that. You really like that. You commented on it. You said something about it. But the second that I said it was an NFT, all of a sudden it became something, and in both these situations that I'm talking about, it became something lesser to them. And I wonder how
Don't you,
often.
don't you wish you could turn around to those conversations and have them immediately again right now? Just that part of like, oh yeah, crypto with Bitcoin at all-time highs, and be like, yeah, crypto, and then be like, oh yeah, well I'm interested now.
Yeah, because it's
Now that
doing
we're in a
well.
nice bull run, I'm real interested. Yeah, well you're late. So I tried to tell you about it 2 years ago.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's funny that way. I mean, one of the best things that we had was one of the best things I had for getting people engaged with it was Wag Me Wine and getting the bottles of wine with the NFT artist's piece of art on the front of the bottles of wine. It was just a great icebreaker. Everybody wanted to talk about it because, of course, I'm standing there holding the bottle uncorked and everybody wants a drink of wine, so they have no choice but to fucking listen to me before I open this damn bottle of wine. It's
Uh,
Brilliant marketing. Brilliant marketing.
yeah, right. The first one's free. I learned that marketing from somewhere else. Cool. So I figure we're gonna wrap her up in about 20 minutes, folks. So if anybody, and I'm just kind of gonna open up the floor a little bit more. If anybody wants to come up and make some comments, feel free to do so. You don't have to, of course. We've had a really great time tonight, and we can definitely go and buy some glass art now. And I don't even know if I have any freaking Ethereum in my. Oh, I did have Ethereum in my wallet. I don't know how much Ethereum I have in my wallet. I got a little look. Anyways, that's a conversation for myself. And just while I'm thinking about it, just give a last little reset to the room and give my appreciation to everybody listening in here. We're the Night Train. If you don't know, we're here every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Next week we have Y Sigma Toad as our guest, and the week after that I am Wessel. So make sure you do come back. If you missed the beginning of this conversation, our guest tonight has been half of Brain Dig's art, and they are a team that creates glass pieces and then takes macro photography and a little bit of digital editing sometimes, and create some amazing artwork. And I highly recommend you check it out. Look around at everybody in the room. Give everybody a follow, because there's some really great people in here that I see down there. The room has been growing and shrinking as we've been talking tonight. Tara's been in here with us. Jay down there. Fendel, Monomel, appreciate you visiting us. I believe it's morning for Monomel. In the moment hanging out with us tonight. Yeah, I just wanted to give a little shout out before we continue on with the next 20 minutes of conversation here. Willie?
Oh, Inza dropped down. I had a question for her before we ended the space.
Well,
I definitely have another question.
We're going to stick around. We're going to stick around for another few minutes for sure. I just wanted to.
Okay, you said at the very beginning that there's somebody took a picture of you taking pictures at 2 years old. I want to know if you know and remember the cameras that were involved in those two pictures.
I know that the camera I was carrying was an Argus, and I don't know what the camera of the person taking the camera was, but I'm thinking it might have been a Nikon.
Do you was the one you were using like a hand-me-down?
That was my mom's camera, but it was still her real camera.
Was it point and shoot, or was it like with a lens on it?
Oh no, this is many years ago. This was a real Argus camera with lenses and even had a little leather case.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I actually posted the picture some time ago on Twitter. I don't remember when, but it's cute. It's really cute.
We'll have to go dig through the archives and find it.
Yeah, somewhere. It's on there somewhere.
So it was 27 years ago, folks, if you can think back.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Whatever, fucking Willie, you called me a boomer the other day, you bastard.
Well, you didn't believe me, and I was right.
No, I didn't. Yeah, that's right.
About technology.
I am 1 year outside of a boomer, according to the world.
I was technically right, but here we are without video.
I know. Oh, dude,
So
I had to bring that back up again.
Maybe I wasn't right enough.
Oh my god. Yeah, the video. So when you were talking about video a little bit earlier, Lisa, like, so are you looking at? Do you think you might, cruise into a little bit longer things, or do you want to do short things? Do you have an idea? You're gonna have to get there to find out where you go with it.
Well, I do like the short things, but they're obviously limiting. But we have the idea for our little story, and we'd love to use our glass work to kind of make a video about making this story. But that's kind of the idea that we have rolling around. So it's a matter of getting the ability to actually create it. And the time to do it. So that's kind of what we're looking into, though, in the future. So stay tuned.
That's neat. I'll be excited for whatever the storyline is, for sure. I think it would be
like it. So
cool. We'll definitely be staying tuned. I can tell you that now. You're on our radar.
Great.
We consider you one of our people, for whatever that's worth. Hopefully someday it'll be worth something, but at least we're getting a space up there and archiving our conversation with you tonight for sure, which has really been just a blast.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for inviting me to share our work with you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you to everyone who came to listen. Appreciate that as well.
I like that every time you've said us tonight, because it's like, for people that don't have any context, they're like, oh, it's one of those people, is it?
Yeah, we are them. So
right? That's all right. It's cool. It's cool. No judgment around here. I mean, Willie and I are the two most oddball people in the whole damn space when it boils down to it. There's nothing normal about either of us. Well, Willie has a family. I guess that's pretty normal. Or not.
I try to be on the outside.
Of the family?
I try to be normal on the outside.
Yeah, till you get to Miami and buy one of those tourist hats and go rock it.
Yeah.
It's okay, buddy. I was right there with you. If I didn't have a ball cap, I would have bought one of those suckers too. I can tell you that right now. Right, cool.
Hey
Yeah.
Pam, I'm not sure. I kind of got rugged there and kicked out of the space, but if we're closing up, I actually need to jump off as well. And
Okay, I have a real quick question for you before you do.
Yes, please.
When is the next breathing space with you? I want to know when your next
Thursdays,
space is so we can join.
11 a.m. on Thursdays, 11 a.m. Pacific, because everything
Okay.
rotates around Pacific, right? That's all you have to say. 11 a.m. But yeah,
Okay, I will try to be there.
I love it. Yeah, and
I really
for-
love those spaces. They're really
Yeah, thank you.
energizing.
It's a creative space, and I'm sorry for cutting you off there. That was, for me and my listening skills, I'm still working on. But
It's quite okay.
No,
No, go ahead. Say whatever you were going to say. No,
Well,
just kidding.
we'll just blame it on the lag in Twitter.
Thank you. Yeah. I just didn't hear.
Uh.
So yeah, it's just a heart-centered space where we invite creatives in to just talk about what's real in our lives, and we do some heart math-centric practices of connecting our hearts to our minds. So just taking this conversation of basically love, love and the things that are actually important to us in our world, and taking it out of this kind of namby-pamby, like, oh, I don't know how to do it world, into some very practical things you can do to just get more of it in your life. And it's a beautiful group of people who come together to be connected and, get supported, share what's ever going on in your life. So I really appreciate you coming into this space and sharing yourself, because it's awesome. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It really actually last week it really helped last week. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, and I, it's really interesting because people will jump in and surprisingly will be on some kind of topic that is right where somebody's at, and it is such a safe and vulnerable space. It's not one that's recorded, so you can feel free to get as weird as you need to get, or we go way off tangent a lot of times, and I feel like there's just not enough places where there's so many odd people, and it's really nice to be able to come into a container and be yourself. And the one requirement is that we have mutual respect for one another and a curiosity about them. So there's you can't come in and be an asshole, but you can come in and have some kind of struggle that you're up against and be seen.
it's like the hug of Twitter Spaces.
Oh, I like that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You put that on a T-shirt now, I think, a coffee
I'm
mug.
just thinking, I'm
Yeah.
writing that shit down.
Write that shit down.
Yeah. So, and thank you for inviting me into this space. It was really, really fun. I really enjoy your art and the presentation, and getting a deeper dive into your motivation, and even just being introduced to it, pulling it up on object. And yeah, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all.
And thank you again, Enza, for helping out tonight, and just being a little backup
Thank
with me.
you.
It's always good to just have somebody else on a mic. I can jump
Awesome.
in here.
Yeah, and I mean, Inza, when Willie said that today in the workspace, I thought that was brilliant. I was like, yeah, why not? Right?
It's so funny. And when you said it, I was like, really? You'd let me talk in your space?
I like
Wow.
that. I like that. Inza, why don't you pop in? You like to talk.
Well,
I know.
Findle always has an open invite, but he never takes it. So I don't want to feel like I'm pressuring him or anything by
I
asking.
know. I was
So,
thinking
you
like
know.
Fendel's so
Love-
perfect because he knows this
Love
space
Findle.
so
He's
well.
always got an invite. He's always available if he wants to be. But I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes he's listening because he can't always talk. So
Right. He's got a life too.
No, we've told Fendel that long time ago. Fendel always has open invite to pop up at any time because he's got
He just drops these random bombs, wisdom bombs,
right,
wisdom heartfelt bombs, and you're just like, yes, thank you for being here.
right, absolutely. That's,
Yeah,
it totally does.
so have a beautiful rest of wherever you are in the day, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Thanks, Inza. Very appreciate that very much.
Thanks. Ciao.
Peace. Good stuff. And we always had to say it. I didn't say it even once a space, but that's Hash Brown's mom.
Well, last time I said it, I was, told that, she's trying to create her own identity.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I had to. That's why I saved it for now.
Okay, I don't have to say it.
That was so.
Be who she is.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny that the Testone finals because Inza was running the Twitter space, and Hash Brown was running the spatial space, and then they were connected together to share, right? And so sometimes it was a little awkward with how things were going, and Inza would jump in and go, Hash, so and so Retromania has something to say on Twitter, and so then she would plug us in and write whatever. But at the end, it was getting very confusing with a lot of bunch of people, and then Inza kept trying to come in, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Mom!" And it was so funny just to hear him yell, "Mom!" He's like, "Oh shit, I didn't want to say that. Sorry."
Yeah.
But no, it was good. It's good stuff. Good people all around. Good mom. Her spaces are really great. If anybody's interested in some of that stuff, Inza's heart spaces are just amazing. I hope you gave her a follow, and if you don't, you can definitely find her. Yes. So I think we're pretty damn close to just calling it a night. I wanted to, definitely say thank you very much to Lisa for coming on tonight and hanging out with us. I'm really glad that you took the olive branch that we handed you and you came on and hung out with us, because you definitely made us more enlightened on what you guys do over there, and it's been a really great experience.
And you hung out all 3 hours.
Yeah,
Right?
I actually thought I was going to have to leave, but I'm glad I was able to stick around. So thank you so much for having us. And also, thank you for the great questions, because the questions were really thoughtful. Appreciate that. And I appreciate being able to answer some good ones. So thank you for that.
I was looking for, was anybody else there? I walked away and I'm on my phone.
Findle popped up. I was going to say thank you, but I didn't know if you were ready to pop.
No,
Go ahead, Findle, you got a quick question?
I couldn't find the unmute button.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? Wonderful program. Lisa, it was so nice to hear you on the show tonight. I just want to say thank you so much. It's just like always, it's always just a real pleasure. I just had one quick question. Maybe you can tell us like one photography project or like goal that you'd like to accomplish in the future.
Well, that's a great question. Thank you for asking. Well, I think one of the photography things I would like to accomplish is to do a little more video. I think that I actually went to school for television and film, and I haven't used that at all in my life. And I'm hoping that I can do a little bit more of that and learn a little bit more about video and maybe incorporating that into some of our projects.
Well, that's kind of crazy. We never even once touched on any kind of schooling, I don't think, tonight. And that's usually a very typical question that we arrive on.
Well, I graduated in television film from university, and I haven't used it since, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. And so that's why I'm kind of hoping maybe I can get back into it in some aspect and use it in Web3 in some way.
There's definitely places to use it, and of course, it all boils down to got to have that time. damn time.
Very, very cool. Well, I hope you do, and I hope that when you do, like, you come back and share it with everybody here.
Well, thank you, Fendel, for your question, and I appreciate you coming up and asking, and thank you for sticking around.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Fendel lives in the Seattle. He's a good West Coast soul.
Well, you must see a lot of good, cool glass up there then.
Oh yeah, there's some beautiful, beautiful work here for sure. Absolutely, lot of amazing glass blowers here.
But the PNW vibe, man, creates great glass. Great marijuana up there too. Just want to say that.
That's where I got to go if I'm able to get up there. Is the glass blowing school or whatever, something like that. I've been to the Chihuly Museum.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Chihuly
there's the Chihuly Museum, of course.
I've been there, but no, the other one that's like down the Tacoma area. I think Pong was telling us. It's like a glass blowing school where they, like, you just pop in and they do like seminars and stuff for free, kind of thing. I think that's what he was saying. I'll have to go back.
Yeah, there's I know that there is something in Tacoma down there. There's also like a big building, which is, they call it big building, but it's underneath the West Seattle Bridge, just south of downtown here, and there are several glass blowers there too. That's just minutes from where I live, but yeah, there's a lot of different folks around for sure.
Willie, you were going to stick to 3D printing.
No, I just want to see. Like, I just want to watch and see, like, observe. I'm not.
Get a little voyeuristic in there. I get it. I get that jive. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Fendel. It was good to hear. I was wondering if you were going to pop up tonight and grace us with your wonderful voice. It's not singing "Oh Canada," but we'd love to hear from you, buddy.
I'm always happy to sing "Oh Canada." I'm the only one who knows the capital of Canada too.
Fendel is an honorary Canadian. Oh man, I don't even want to start on this right now. But yeah, Fendel, I wanted to touch on that. You mentioned to me, so you're going to come up here and do the Great Divide Trail.
I am. That's not this summer, but next
2025.
year. Yeah, 2025. Yeah, really looking forward to spending some time in your beautiful country, and you know how much I just love it. And yeah, it should just be about, I don't know, maybe a little more than a month of hiking, and then I'll probably catch a ride to Calgary afterwards, hang out with you, and then fly home.
Dude,
that's the plan.
That's the way to go, man. That's the way that I would want it. I'll come pick you up.
Do you we're no spring chickens around here. Do you need to train for that at all? Like you specifically, are you training for that? That's why it's next year, or you're like, you could do it right now. You're like, now I'm always in shape to do it.
I mean, I could do it now. It's just that right now I just need to save money, and I need to
more of a schedule and a financial right now.
Yeah, exactly. And there's also the permits are already spoken for that trail for this summer, so that would be impossible at this point.
Okay. No, I was I was more asking about physical. Could you physically just be like, yeah, I can do that tomorrow?
I mean, I would definitely do some more physical activity to get ready for something, for a big expedition like that. But it's very, honestly, if you're planning on hiking big miles, it's almost impossible to train for hiking big miles without hiking big miles.
Other than just being in good hiking shape.
Exactly. Otherwise, I'd have to go out and go walk for 6 hours a day, and I'm just not going to do it. I have other things I need to do with my life.
Training for marathons, you have to run marathons every day.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and
All right.
and long distance hiking is basically doing a marathon every day. That's almost what it is.
With the risk
literally.
of getting eaten by a bear.
Well, I'll have bear spray with me, and I'm hiking with a partner, so
Yeah, as long as you can go faster than
carry
them.
a 22.
Oh, 22. So you can
Well,
shoot the
Yeah,
partner?
that way you can shoot the guy behind you.
Oh, yeah, right.
I
You
will
don't need to
not
kill
be,
the bear.
I will not be carrying guns.
No, you just got to be able to run faster than the people you're with. That's all.
Yeah. It's easier if you shoot him in the leg.
Prepare to get winged. No, no, I mean, bears are definitely a concern for sure. But my philosophy about animals is more about like giving animals space
Yeah.
and letting them know that you're there and you should be okay. But that said, like you have to definitely, that is big grizz country, and the Great Divide Trail is basically at the top of Glacier National Park in Montana. That's where it starts, and yeah, I mean, there are a lot of that's grizz country.
Yeah, that whole
Just
corridor.
don't be grizzly, man, and you should be all right, right? Like, don't try to make friends with him.
I think
Man, I do enjoy seeing animals, like and viewing them from a distance, like I mean, yeah, last time I was in Glacier, I got to see some huge, I saw a bull moose that was like maybe the biggest animal I've ever seen. I know like Bits probably sees those things in his backyard every day, but like this thing was massive and super intimidating, even though like from quite a distance away. But I was like, just could not believe how big that animal was. I mean, wow.
You said moose. I kind of missed out, and there was letting the dog in. Did you say
Yeah,
moose?
it was a big, gigantic bull moose.
Yeah,
like,
they're obscene.
huge.
They're obscene. People have no idea how big those damn things are, man. They are the most ginormous, monstrous, monolithic animals, man. Crazy.
They really
Yeah.
are. They really are. And I've been really close to some huge elk too, and which get very, very big too.
Yep. Yeah.
But nothing like that. Nothing like that. That was insane.
The crazy thing about the elk is that they travel in herds, so it's not just one. Like typically when you see moose, you might see one, two, like a couple of them, but like it's like when you get to giant elk, it's like we have a herd that's by my cabin that I'm pretty sure is well over 1,000. And let me tell you, when they're crossing the road and you come up to them, man, I remember I was quadding one day and I came up to them and I just kind of stopped and I looked around and I realized I was like, holy shit, like I am smack dab in the center of this. And I was like terrified. Like I was definitely in the moment and the adrenaline was pumping and I knew that I was going to be okay. But it was like, man, these guys could really fuck me up. And not even because they wanted to fuck me up. It would be just like if these guys stampede, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. A
Anyways.
herd of elk is kind of like a freight train that could attack you.
Yeah, a freight train that can move anywhere.
Yeah, they're just they're they're thousands and they're massively long.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I saw a herd of elk in Olympic National Park with my nephew and Jane and my brother-in-law, and there had to have been over 300 animals, and
That's intense.
I mean, it was so intense, and they were quite a distance from us, but still, like it was just magnificent to see, like that many animals together and like crossing water and just, I mean, and the babies and like, oh my goodness, it was incredible, and not just like an hour before we had seen a giant black bear who saw us and then bolted pretty fast. But
yeah, they don't want
exciting.
nothing to do. They don't want nothing to do with us. Well, I think
not really.
I think this is a good point. I think we'll call it a night because we started off talking about glass and macro photography and the tiniest things and getting into the little details and down in there and pulling out beautiful images. And we're finishing it off talking about giant herds of elk and huge, giant, massive moose. I think this is a good jumping off point for us, for sure.
Well, Lisa, I just want to say one last time, thank you so much for being here, and I just can't wait to see what you come up with and come visit on this program again and keep in touch. Very, very best of luck, and can't wait to see what you make next.
Great. Thank you so much. And thanks again, guys, for having me, and all of you guys for sticking around and listening. So please give us a follow and check us out and stay in touch.
Whoop, whoop. Hell yeah, we will do so. Give our best to the other half of the team, and definitely to the 90-year-old mom creating the great art.
They'll do. And
tell her that there's some more people that are going to have her art in their wallets for sure. We appreciate it very much. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, it means the world to us when people come here to listen to us. It means the world to us when people come here to talk about themselves and what they do. It really means huge things to us, because, I mean, people wouldn't all be here to listen to Willie and I. I mean, if Fendel was chatting with us, maybe they would be for sure. But, you know, that ties right back into that. Without the people that want to come and hang out with us and take the invitation that we put out, we wouldn't have anything here at all. It would just be Willie and I talking to each other, which we do anyways. I mean, sometimes after these spaces, Willie and I have talked for 2 or 3 more hours, which is horrible. But anyways.
Yeah, we chat anyways.
Yeah, we do. So thank you very much.
You don't want to listen to most of that.
No, it's not. That's when all the dirt comes out. So we are the Night Train. We are here every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. The train's coming into the station, and it is time to disembark.
Who are we talking to next week?
Next week, we have Wise Sigma Toad will be here. The week after that, I Am Wessel. And the week after that, you booked somebody. Who was it that you booked, Willie?
Michael Macasso. We're getting Mac on.
Yeah, and we've got some great lines out there. We have some amazing people that we've reached out to, and we're just waiting for the time to be right for them to come on here. And when the time is right, they will come on, and we'll let you guys know. Next week, hopefully, we're going to announce our new collaboration piece. If we don't, it'll be the week after that. But next week, I assure you, we are going to have video. I will not tolerate no video next week. I am so disappointed after all the work.
We are at the hands of Elon on that.
I don't even know what to say about it. 2 weeks in a row,
But we have been working on it on our end to make the video very beautiful for you, the viewers, not just our ugly faces.
Yeah, no.
Like you're going to see for the next week.
No. I might show my ass one night, but not my face. On that note, thank you very much, everybody. Once again, I appreciate each and every one of you. Your time is your time, and for you folks to take that time and come here and hang out with us and the guests that we have really means the world. I cannot say that enough. It really, really is super, super important to myself and Willie, and we hope you come back and visit us again. Go check us out on YouTube, check out some of the archived spaces, and go buy some art and go discover things. Just get down there and in the moment. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I'm going to close it out tonight from a track from another really great friend of ours of the show, from the J-Burn. This one is a collab that he did with Adelia. This is Like Love. Take care of yourselves and each other. See you next time.
She's in my thoughts, she's in my brain, she's in my heart, she's in my way, she's in my thoughts, she's in my brain, she's in my heart, she's in the way, she's in my thoughts, she's in my brain, she's in my heart, she's in the way, she's in my thoughts, she's in my brain, she's in my heart, she's in the way. I never felt like this before, this before, this before. I never felt like this before, this before, this before. I never felt like this before, this before, this before. I never felt like this before. Inside of her arms is my favorite place. Inside of my arms is where she feels safe. I can't believe all the things that we made. You make me smile everything that you say. You got me asking how much can I take. All of this love makes me feel like I'll break, but this is something I don't want to escape. You have my faith, I want you to stay. She's in my thoughts, she's in my brain, she's in my heart, she's in my way, she's in my thoughts, she's in my brain, she's in my heart, she's in the way. I never felt like this before, this before, this before. I never felt like this before, this before, this before. I never felt like this before, this before, this before. I never felt like this before.
And it's actually one of the things, and I'll scream it from the rooftops, and I have been for the past 3 years, that this space is one of the only places on Earth or in any universe or whatever that you can get to know somebody's soul, their blood, sweat, and tears without having all these micro judgments of age, race, gender, color, nationality, geography, all this stuff. You can get to know people and their souls without making up your mind about somebody. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about Web3.